Hi YouTube, how are you doing? And welcome back to Phasmophobia. Today, I want to do something that I almost never do, which is playing on amateur as well as all of the other difficulties. Since it is the month of October now, the update will be coming very, very soon. And that means with the console release that a lot of new players are going to start their Phasmophobia journey. And you might be wondering, if you're one of them, what difficulties should I be playing? What is the difference between all of the difficulties? So I thought we'd just play through all of them in this video, and I'm going to talk about what is the difference between them, why should you pick this one over that one, what is all the differences, and I really hope you enjoy that. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. But let's not waste any more time, and let's start on amateur, the easiest difficulty, which I haven't touched in a really long time because it is really low rewards here, but it is by far, at least in my opinion, the way how you should start playing Phasmo, because Phasmo is incredibly complex, and if you don't start with amateur, you're going to be very confused. Let's read what it says here. Recommended for new ghost hunters, as I say as well. It will give you a long setup time. I'm also going to talk about this in the game, so don't worry about it. A long grace period, very short hunts, extremely short hunts. The sanity pills will be extremely effective, and you will this is something very unique to amateur. You will get half your money back in case you die for all of the equipment that you brought into the game. On most of the other difficulties, you will just lose literally everything you brought into the map, which is extremely punishing. So yeah, what do all those settings mean? This right here is what they talked about, right? The setup time. It is a 5-minute setup time in which we're completely safe. Now, I already see chat talking about this. We quickly need to spin as well, because I forget. They love their ghost gambling. We're going to spin just so chat has something to vote on. This will be the ghost that we're going to hope it will be today, and they'll get to vote in chat with some imaginary channel points whether or not they believe it will be an Obake or any of the other ghosts. Don't worry about that, though. They just voted 20 million points on doubt and 2.3 million on that this will be specifically an Obake. We'll see about that. Let's find out. Okay, so this timer right here, as I said, is the setup time. In this period, the ghost will not be able to hunt at all, no matter what happens, unless you use the cursed possession, which I'll show you when we get into the game. That will remove the setup timer, but in any other way, through natural means, the ghost will not be able to hunt, even if your sanity goes lower, but I think your sanity actually gets locked at 50%. Now, on this difficulty, you also have the screens, which you'll be having for most of the lower difficulties. Only the very high difficulties will lock off these two screens. This will give you information about what the ghost is doing in the house, and this will give you information about everyone's sanity. Now, because I'm solo, it's only showing my sanity here. This is extremely important, especially the average, because as soon as the average goes below 50, almost every ghost will be able to hunt, at which point you're going to have to bring some defensive equipment in there, such as smudge sticks. Now, other very important things is that it will tell you, this is actually not that important, but it will tell you right here what the ghost responds, who the ghost responds to. If it says everyone here, that means that even if everyone is in the ghost room, you can still use the spirit box to get a response. If this says it responds to people who are alone, you need to isolate everyone out of the ghost room and just have one person in there talking on the spirit box before you get a response. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, when you're playing single player, that obviously doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to quickly grab my list because I had a little cheat sheet here for important stuff. Oh, what I found interesting is that I'm just going to go in there as well while we're talking about this. With just some regular stuff. I usually start with stuff to find the ghost room. I recommend an EMF and a thermo, but you can start with all kinds of stuff. You can start with the photo cam. I recommend the EMF because the main way that I find the ghost room is by listening for anything happening in the house, and then I sometimes don't know exactly where it's coming from, so then I'll use the EMF to identify where the sound was coming from. What you want to do right away in the game is turning on as many lights as possible. Now, what's very nice about amateur is that the breaker starts on by default, which I think is only on intermediate and amateur. On the other difficulties, I think even on intermediate it will start off. So literally only on amateur it will start on. So you can just immediately turn on the lights, which will prevent your sanity from draining. Another thing, which is very important in amateur, is that you have every single available hiding spot. So if you are new to the game, this is very important because on the later difficulties, sometimes you'll open a closet like this, and then there will be a bunch of shit inside, which will prevent you from using that as a hiding spot. So if you're running away from the ghost during a hunt, and you find, there's a sound coming from here, you find the wrong or you find a blocked hiding spot, you might get killed. Where was that sound exactly coming from? This is why I'm running around. Oh, that's another thing. On Amateur, this is actually the only difficulty I think on which that's the case. All of the doors start closed, which is, it used to be that that's all, for all of the difficulties, but this is actually really important, especially on larger maps. If all the doors start closed, that means that if you walk around and you see a door that's opened and you or your teammates did not open that door, you know that the ghost is in this area. So we know that this door got touched, we know that this door got touched, so we know the ghost is in this area. Which is really important. Let's see which one of these it actually is. Also, that's a big boner. We're gonna use the thermo. You can just click and then hold the button. It will give you updates on the temperature. What's really important to know about the breaker starting on by default is that the temperature will start really high in all the rooms. If the breaker starts off, all the rooms will be really cold, like around 11 degrees. And then get warmer as long as you turn the breaker on. But the breaker being on means all of them will be hot except the ghost room, which is this one right here. So you can see that we have 9 degrees in there. We also, this will be very different from how I usually play the game. Let's drop everything. You will be getting every single evidence from all of the ghosts. So this is something that I highly recommend you start off playing with, because if you don't have all the evidence, it's going to be extremely confusing if you're not familiar with how the game works. So for example, I will get, if it is a spirit, I will get spirit box. What is the, I think it's ghost writing. Yeah, you will get EMF, spirit box, and ghost writing. Whereas on the higher difficulty, it will hide one of these evidences. So then you will only get EMF and spirit box, for example, and then you still have to figure out what the difference is between these ghosts through other things, like more advanced mechanics. But I highly recommend you stay away from those and just learn them by watching people play, or watching people such as me play the game, or joining public lobbies and observing other people. Now you can see the time is still going. We still have 2 minutes of safety period, but you can also see that by properly managing my sanity, I am not even close to being hunted yet. So I really don't, the setup period, you kind of just want to ignore pretty much, and you just rather want to keep your sanity high, because 5 minutes is really not enough to, I mean, you could finish the entire game in 5 minutes if you're really fast, but that's not what you're going to be doing when you play the game for the first time. So what's the first thing you do? This, I'm also just going to use this as a bit of a way to give tips on how to play the game. So you want to keep on the lights as long as you're, the only reason you want to ever turn off the lights is if you want to look for orbs, or if you want to talk on the spirit box. Those are the only two things for which the lights have to be off. In any other situation, you want to keep the lights on to prevent your sanity from draining, unless you want your sanity to drain and you want to be hunted later. Another really important thing on Amateur is that once you found the ghost room, this is the room that you can bring all your equipment, and you never have to worry about the ghost leaving and going to another area and changing that into the ghost room. This is like a really important mechanic in Phasmo, is that the ghost will be basically stuck around one room. On the higher difficulties, however, that room can change throughout the game, so you'll have to constantly be monitoring, is it still in this area? Should I go somewhere else? You don't have to worry about that on Amateur, because the ghosts don't roam at all. Or they do roam, but they don't change the ghost room at all, which is very important. As I already said, the hunts are going to be super short, which will be nice for when the ghosts start hunting. But let's just collect some evidence. What I highly recommend when you start, find the ghost room. Do that by listening. Do you hear anything? Or by using the temperature, such as this. We can see that it's probably going to be like 5 degrees here by now. 3 degrees even. So yeah, this is definitely the ghost room, and you can see that if I walk even remotely out of this room, like in this one, it'll immediately be like 20 degrees. You see that? It's like a huge difference in temperature, so we know this is the ghost room. Now I'm gonna quickly turn. It just giggled. It just giggled on this thing that is fucking cursed. The teddy bear giggled. That's the type of sounds you can listen for to find where the ghost is. Now, as you can see, this sound happened in a room that's not actually the ghost room, so the sounds don't happen inside of the room. They will happen in a circle around them. Okay, so let's quickly turn off the lights to look for orbs, which we immediately see. That right there is orbs. You can see them as long as you have the night vision on. If I have the night vision, if I don't have the night vision on, you can't see anything. Gotta turn on the night vision, and you can see right here that it's really hard if the lights are on to see the orbs. That's why I said you should turn off the... they will also move around the room. There you go. They moved to around there. So make sure, especially in a room like this, to walk around, check all the different areas. I think we have EMF 5 or EMF 4, which means that was a ghost event. But I didn't hear anything, so I'm not sure what the fuck. Okay, so we get ghost orbs. Now, what's really important, let's try with Spirit Box here. So we're gonna, for Spirit Box, you have to turn off the lights. If I don't turn off the lights, the Spirit Box simply won't work. I think this is explained. You actually have like a journal here, which has information about all of the items, I think, in the game. Yeah, it has, only certain ghosts will talk through the Spirit Box. When asked a question with your voice, make sure the lights are off. So it does say it here, but I feel like this is one of those games that you much rather want to learn by just observing people or like learning through example than having someone like read a book about it. Like, I don't think that works very well. I don't think that was EMF 5. I think that was EMF 4. All right, let's turn off the lights. That was terrifying. Even though we're playing on amateur, that scared the shit out of me. Okay. So that right there was a ghost event, which, was that EMF 5? Okay, you see this right here? The EMF is going all the way into the red. That means it's EMF 5. How do you get EMF? You get it by walking around and going to stuff that the ghost is interacting with. It will give you like an EMF reading, and if it's an EMF 5 ghost, by doing that enough, it will eventually give you an EMF 5. What just happened? A lot of stuff just happened. The Ghost of the Ghost event, which is one of the things that the ghost can do. It's actually really rare for the ghost to do a ghost event on amateur because the setting for ghost events is set all the way to the minimum amount, whereas in the higher difficulties, this gets more common because they want the higher difficulties to be scarier and also harder, because ghost events will drop your sanity. If you get touched by the ghost during a ghost event, let's fill in EMF so we don't forget. If you get touched by the ghost during a ghost event, this will drain your sanity. And I think we just got touched, yeah? So we went from 100% sanity immediately to around 85 sanity there. Well, we probably were at 95. So yeah, that will drain your sanity. That's why on the higher difficulties they do it more, because this is a way to drain your sanity really fast. Also, what the ghost did there is that it... wait, Obake is actually still an option. What the hell? Wait, Obake and Raichu, this is what the believers are hoping for, by the way. This is actually crazy. So, what did it just do? It did a ghost event that broke the lights. You can see that these lights don't work. Even though the breaker is on, the lights don't work anymore. Which means that this is now a dangerous room to stay in because my sanity will keep draining. Now, on amateur, your sanity will drain really slowly compared to the higher difficulty. But I still recommend that if you don't have to be in a room that's dark... you shouldn't be in a room that's dark unless you want to get hunted. Unless you're a bit more confident in your ability and you don't mind to eventually get hunted. I'm going to grab some salt, I think. Threw that around. What are we looking for now? So, we have 2 ghosts remaining. This is actually really rare. Usually when you have 2 evidence, there will be a lot more ghosts remaining, but this is a very specific combination where there's only 2. We either want to look for UV for Obake, or dots for Raichu. This is important to look for because sometimes, like, some evidences are hard to get. For example, writing is relatively hard to get. If you fill it in here, you see that there's not a single ghost with this combination. So I can just click on this again, have it crossed out, so I know in my head I don't have to look for this because it's impossible. Same thing with freezing. Freezing is impossible, so let's not look for that. Spirit Box is impossible, so let's not look for that. We're only interested in UV and dots. Which dots is one of the harder evidences, and UV is one of the easier, so I'm gonna start with UV here. How do we do UV? If the ghost touches the door, it will have a chance, or it will leave a fingerprint, unless it's an Obake, in which case it sometimes doesn't, but let's just assume it always leaves a fingerprint, which you can see that with your UV light. I'm also gonna grab a dots. Alternatively, you can grab salt. If the ghost steps in salt, it will leave footsteps, which will also count as UV evidence. So we're gonna place this down here. Place this down. This is the dot sensor. How does this work? It will just sometimes, like if you place it in the ghost room and you're in the area, or like around it so you can see it, or place a camera, alternatively, you will see like a green ghost walk through the dots. Which will be considered dots evidence. I'm gonna place the salt on the floor as well. Like, you want to place the salt in a position where you, yeah, the tier 1, I have the tier 2 items here. When you're starting out, complete as a beginner, you have the tier 1 equipment, which I highly recommend going through the tutorial because they will just explain you how to use the tiered equipment. But you have a flashlight instead. You have like a little flashlight which you have to shine around. You can also place it. So you would like place it over here, for example, and shine it into the room. This actually might very much be an Obake, which would be extremely exciting for the believers here. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. We have a setup time. Oh, the pills. That's not another important one. You have sanity pills. So let's see what our sanity is right now. I should probably stick around. It might step into salt. Let's just quickly check though. Oh, we can check that door. Yeah, you're right. Which door did it just touch? I'm yapping too much. Don't know which door it just touched, but we're gonna use the UV. Oh my god, it's actually an Obake. I can't believe we're gonna start with that's insane, dude. Okay, so that's incredible for the believers. Let's go. The believers are gonna be very happy with it. I'll show you the payout after the game here. Also, it stepped in the salt, but I'm not seeing the footsteps right now, but we saw the fingerprint on the wall. This is something that's really important about the lower difficulties. I'm gonna step in here because I want to play safe. Is that if you get a ghost to touch the, like if it touches a door and you don't get fingerprints on it several times, you can, oh, we get footsteps here. You can see that there's footsteps as well. That also counts as UV. If it steps in the salt and then it walks around, but there's no UV, like on the floor, you can rule that out because all the evidence will be provided to you by the ghost. If you don't see an evidence, you can actually rule that out, which you can use to find the ghost as well. Because, for example, let's say that we knew that it's not freezing, we knew that it's not spirit box, we knew that it's not dots. That would have already given us basically the ghost we were looking for, even though we hadn't found a single evidence yet. So yeah, ruling out evidence can be extremely important. However, some evidence is really hard to rule out, such as dots, for example. Spirit box you can rule out relatively effectively by just talking a bunch on the spirit box. Same thing with ghost orbs. If you don't see it, you can rule that out. But anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know for amateur. Another thing, well, the last thing, is that there is a cursed possession, which is this thing right here, but it can be different, or it will be different every round. You will get a different cursed possession. I recommend, when you're starting out, not to touch these, because they are they are risky. They will usually lead to hunts, and if you don't know how they work, you're gonna piss off your friends, you're gonna potentially kill your friends, you're gonna kill yourself potentially. So I would just recommend not touching them. What I would recommend though is grabbing a photo cam and taking a picture of them, because it will give you money. It will give you money. It will say music box here. You can, let's see, we can also take a photo of the salt here. We have a picture of that. Picture of this. It touched a door, or it touched a window. Or light switch, sorry. Our brain. So I'm gonna use this to make it show up and then take a picture. We're gonna also take a picture of this. You can also throw this on the floor and then just take a picture. You can take a picture of the fingerprints, and I can take a picture of the interaction. What else can we do? Do we have another fingerprint somewhere? We don't. I mean, that's already a lot. We should take a photo of the bone right here. Almost forget that. Boner. We get another door touch. That's huge, because that means we get yet another picture and another interaction photo and another fingerprint and another interaction. Okay, this is usually not how it's gonna go, but I just wanted to show you stuff you could take photos of. So yeah, I just literally speed ran that. We didn't get the ghost photo. Let's show you a bit. So this is where you would bill as a new player. As the thing you should be going for as a new player is learning how to figure out evidence, learning how to identify the ghost. If you have identified the ghost, just move on with the, like, leave. But I can show you the stuff you can do once you're a little bit more familiar with the game. We're gonna try and do all these objectives. I have to be low sanity, I have to capture a photo of the ghost, and I have to repel the ghost. So I'm gonna have to grab the equipment needed for doing this, which is a smudge stick to repel the ghost. I already have a photo cam in there. This is a smudge stick. You won't be starting with this when you start out anyway. You don't have sanity pills, you don't have smudge sticks. So you're not gonna be able to... You're not gonna be getting these objectives anyway, because they don't provide them to you unless you have the evidence, unless you have the items required. How do you use the music box? I can give you information about all the cursed possessions we're gonna be getting throughout this video. You need to have some sanity. I should have some sanity. I didn't check, but I should have some sanity right now. You're gonna start it, and then you're gonna walk up to the ghost room. You're gonna hear us singing. So let's start it. You're gonna hear singing. We're gonna walk up to the ghost, and then it's gonna do a ghost event. As long as it's working, sometimes it breaks. Okay, so this is a worst example because it's breaking right now. It's supposed to do a ghost event and then walk up to the music box. This is why I recommend you don't use the cursed possessions, because they will sometimes bug out, and if you don't know how to identify the bugging out, you will just be extremely confused and then get instantly killed by the ghost, which is very bad. Yeah, it's gonna start the hunt now. We're gonna do it throughout or during a hunt. We can though, because oh fuck, we have perfect. We can't do the ghost photo because I already took too many pictures, but we can at least show you how you can take a ghost photo during a hunt. Can you hunt me? Wait, it didn't. Are you kidding me? It didn't even work out. Okay, you can't delete them because they're 3-star photos. Okay, let's just forget about this. I'm gonna show you how to do the objectives in a later round. It bugged out. Don't worry about the music box. It's supposed to, when you walk up to the ghost, start a ghost event and then go into a hunt, but this time it didn't do it. We are low enough sanity for it to eventually hunt us. So you know what? Whatever. We can do it during a hunt. We can get the this rappel at least. I can show you a little loop. How do you want to be safe during a hunt? You want to hide. You want to hide? Oh god. Don't do what I'm doing here, which is playing a lot more risky and running into the ghost. Hey, can you come over here? Hello, hello. So if you have your equipment on, by the way, the ghost will detect that during a hunt. So make sure to turn it off. I am going to smudge the ghost. I'm literally... Oh, that was so short. I forget. Holy, so that's a good example of how short the hunts are on amateur mode. Did I even get it? I did get it. That's incredible. How just like a 15-second hunt. Holy. Okay, so just hide, run to a hiding spot, close the door, turn off your equipment, and that should keep you safe during a hunt. But if you have to do some objectives like this, repel the ghost with incense while it's chasing someone. You have to use a smudge stick while the ghost is actively chasing you or your teammates. So that's why I wanted to do that real quick. So yeah, that's just a showcase of how to do that objective. I can't believe we got an Obake right away. That's incredible. That should be, unless I messed it up. There you go. That was a believer victory. Let's go. Now the main thing, why do people not all play on amateur if it's so easy to win the game on this? Because higher difficulty, higher risk, higher reward. The amateur difficulty has a 1x multiplier, and the higher you go, you can go all the way up to a 6x multiplier without even using the custom difficulty. We're going to be seeing that throughout this video. So yeah, it's the way you should start. In the early game, you're going to be leveling up fast anyway, but I would recommend as fast as, like, if you start to do a few rounds on amateur and you win a few, you could already consider stepping it up to intermediate, because that already will double your reward. So yeah, that's a showcase of amateur. It took us 18 minutes right there. You have a lot of stats here that you could look through if you're just interested in what was his contract, what did the ghost do. You can see that there was never any favorite room changes because it doesn't do that. Now, I really want to see the payout for the believers here, because that is crazy. We have 2.5 million points payout to 3 people here. I'm sorry to the doubters, immediately losing 20 million channel points. Holy shit. All right, so now we're gonna respin for the believers in a moment here, but we're also gonna be stepping it up. So this was amateur. That's what you should start on when you're new to the game. This is once you start to become a little bit familiar with the mechanics, you can step it up to intermediate, which will immediately double your rewards. So that is every single game will give you twice the rewards you would get from an amateur game, so that's a big difference. However, everything will just be slightly harder. You still have a setup time. I really think you should just be ignoring the setup time. It's not long enough to really matter. The grace period is average now. The hunts will be slightly longer. Sanity pills will restore slightly less. The fuse box will now start off, which is a bit of a big change that we're gonna see in a moment here. There will be less places to hide. I'll show you that as well. But you will still regain gain, I think, 25% of your value when you die, and there's a bunch more settings that we're going to be talking about that it doesn't show here right away. But before we do that, let's spin the wheel again and see if we can go 2 for 2 when it comes to believer wins. What do we get? Will it be... Oh my god, Obake again? No, Raichu. Will it be a Raichu this time? That's what the doubters were hoping for last round. Okay, so let's hop in. We're gonna do this. I'm not just gonna play all of them on Tanglewood, but I will play on small maps because I highly recommend when you're starting out to stick to the small maps. Don't go to Maple Lodge, don't go to Camp Woodwind, to Prison, to Sunny Meadows. Leave these maps alone. Just go to Tanglewood, Edgefield, Ridgeview, Willow Street House. And honestly, I would recommend just going to Tanglewood, just so you get the gist of it. But Willow Street House is another really straightforward map that you can definitely go to. I should also upgrade some of my equipment. This is the shop right here. I can give you a quick rundown of how this works because this can be very confusing as well. This is the loadout screen. This is where you can buy items and upgrade them. So this is the tiers. There's different tiers. You will start off with everything tier 1, but you will slowly, through leveling, unlock tier 2 and tier 3. You can upgrade that. So if you see an arrow like this, that means you can click on it, and then there will be an upgrade available here. You can buy that upgrade, and then go back to your quick loadouts over here to change it from tier 1 to tier 2. Same thing with the motion sensor here. I can upgrade that as well. We're going to upgrade that. Now, you won't be having this right away, because it takes quite a bit of leveling up before you unlock all the items to begin with. But this is just for when you get to it, you'll be able to do that. And you can add more or less of an item, such as if you want to get an extra... if I want to take headgears, for example, you can click here on the plus and the minus, and it will just add them to your loadout. But because I'm solo, the headgears doesn't do anything, for example. So yeah, that's the shop is much better now. It used to be really bad, but it's a lot better now. What do we have? We have Julie Young. Let's see if we can do these. We can definitely do these. We have Repel, which is what we did last round. We have Escape the Ghost, which means just being seen by the ghost and then escape it. So not dying. And then we have to use the Crucifix, which I'll show you. But first I want to see what the believers are doing right now. We have 2.3 million still, 3 all-in still, and 20 million. It's pretty much a repeat of the last round. So the doubters are still very confident, which makes sense because they have the odds in their favor. So I'm just going to keep starting with the equipment that I usually start with, the EMF and the Thermo. Now, the equipment will look slightly different depending on the tier you have, but they will also always be in the same spot. So just take this one and this one, whatever they look like for you. Because it also depends. If you're playing with a friend who has all the tier 3 equipment, you will be seeing different stuff as well, which I definitely recommend hopping. Because even if you're playing on console, should be crossplay available. That's what the developers have said. So you will just be able to play with all of your friends who have already played hundreds of hours of this on their computer, who already have all the equipment unlocked, so you can literally just hop into a game with them, which is very exciting. I love that there will just be more people now that will have access to Phasmo. What is one of the differences between Intermediate is that now, when we hop into a map, the lights will be off. So we have to find the breaker first. Every map has a few breaker spots. One of them in Willow is this garage here. But what you can do alternatively, especially when you start out and you don't know how the game works yet, you can use the map screen over here, which I'll show you, because obviously I know where they are, but you won't. On this difficulty, the breaker will be shown on this. This is the ground floor. You can click up and down. There's no up floor, but there is a down floor. You can see right here, this symbol means the breaker. In the basement, there will be a breaker right over there. So that's where we're gonna go. I highly recommend rushing to the breaker right away, turning that on. Why? Because if you're in the dark, your sanity will be draining. So make sure that you have at least one person of your team go to the breaker, turn that shit on immediately, so that everyone can turn on light switches. Now, what you do have to keep in mind is that turning on too many light switches will break the breaker, because that's just like, I think it has to do with performance issues. If people turn on too many lights, the game will start lagging for people with lower end computers. So they made it so that if you turn on too many lights, they will start, or the breaker will go out. So just make sure that if you leave an area forever, to not leave the light on in that area. Now, what's a thing in this is that the doors will be starting open a little bit. So you can no longer do the same thing as in Amateur, which is seeing that this door is open and then immediately being like, oh, this must be the ghost room. It could be, So we're gonna check it here because it could be the ghost room. Another thing that you have to keep in mind right now is that because the breaker started off, the temperature will also start lower. So this says 7 degrees, which in the last game, we immediately knew that was the ghost room. In this game, we don't, because we have to keep in mind that all of the rooms, such as this one, you can also see is 7 degrees. This one, you'll see is also around 9 degrees. So as long as you have the breaker on, the temperatures will rise. So eventually you'll be able to spot the really warm rooms and rule those out as the ghost room. Now what you can do is close all the doors. If you see a door that's open and you test that area, oh, the ghost is not here, close the door, because then later if you come back and it's open again, you're like, wait a minute, so this must actually be the ghost room because I just closed those doors. You can literally just walk around. You don't have to listen for the ghost if you're like talking with friends or being loud like me explaining the game. You won't be able to hear all the sounds, so you can literally just run around with the thermo. Make sure to point it at the ground. Oh, you saw that blinking light? That blinking light means there's a ghost in this general area. Doesn't have to mean it's in this room, because it's in this room right here. You see the really low temperature, 2 degrees, and you see the paintings here, or the pictures that were thrown on the floor, which you can also get EMF off of that. We get an EMF 3 right there. So yeah, this is really important. If you watched Phasmo a really long time ago, this cold breath that you see right here used to mean freezing temperatures. They changed that a while ago. It doesn't mean that anymore. You now need to have the thermo to confirm whether or not it is freezing. And what is freezing? Well, below 0, but in this game, anything below 1 degree on the thermo will eventually turn into freezing. So as soon as you see 0 point something, you know, okay, this is gonna be freezing. And if for a really long time you don't see that, you can rule out freezing. So we're just gonna leave that here for now, and we're gonna grab some evidence. Always good time when you go back to the truck to do a quick check through all your through the situation. Right now you can see, is the ghost going crazy? You see that it's not the case at all. It's barely doing anything. Our sanity, it dropped a little bit on this difficulty. Our setup time is already over, by the way. On this difficulty, you will have on amateur you had 100% sanity drain, like default sanity drain. On this one you have 150% sanity drain, so 50% faster than on amateur mode, which is very significant. And then on the higher difficulties it will be 200%, so it will be twice as much. Let me just grab this, and the video cam again. I personally don't use the tripod because the camera will become smaller. You can see this screen right here is very large. It's easy to see through. If I put it on a tripod, it's easier to place it in the room. However, while holding in your hand, the screen is slightly smaller. And you no longer, if you are used to very old Phasmo mechanics, you can now just look through the camera screen and immediately confirm ghost orbs. You don't have to place it and go back to the truck anymore. That is super old stuff. So yeah, you can now just hold it in your hand and look for the orbs that way. So we're gonna turn off the lights, look around. Orbs will always be in the ghost room. Which is also another way that you can find the ghost room, by the way. If you're playing in a team, what I highly recommend is that different players hold different items. If one person goes around with a video cam, they might spot orbs right away. Now in this situation, I am not... Oh, hello. That's a ghost event right there. You can see the ghost was just standing still. The red lights mean that can't be happening during a hunt. When you get a ghost event, I would, unless you are 100% certain that it isn't a hunt, which right there we saw red light, we saw the ghost immediately, so we knew it wasn't a hunt. But I would just recommend to, when you're starting out, assume that every time you hear like ghost sounds, footsteps, lights flickering like that, that it will be a hunt. Because it is way better to be safe and run away than to assume something was a ghost event and then it actually ends up being a hunt and you get killed. Eventually you'll learn how to distinguish them, so you don't have to constantly run away, but always when you're starting out, just run away. Play it safe because you don't want to die. The most dangerous part of a hunt is the first 2 seconds of a hunt. If you can survive the first 2 seconds, you usually survive the hunt. at least for me at this point, which I have 200 or 2,700 hours in this game, if I die to a ghost, it's usually because it hunts in a bad spot for me, it starts on top of me, and then I immediately get killed right at the start of a hunt. I didn't have a chance to run to safety. So immediately getting a bunch of distance at the start is a very important thing to do. It just turns on the television. Does that have UV? I actually don't know. I don't think it does, right? It doesn't have... Does it? Actually, I think it does. You can get fingerprints on the remote now, right? Or am I crazy? That's like a really, really new mechanic. So because we don't have it, I guess it's not going to be fingerprints unless it's an Obake again. It does in the center of the remote. So yeah, there you go. This is pretty rare. I think the remote is the only item that can give fingerprints. Other things that you can get fingerprints is doors, light switches, and from salt you can get the UV footsteps. So what do we know right now? We know that it's probably not gonna be orbs. We're gonna turn off the light again, so you can click on the remote to turn off the TV. By the way, Windows as well. Yeah, Windows. Good point. So I'm not seeing orbs right here, and since this is clearly the ghost room because of the really cold temperatures, we are going to rule out orbs, which I'm sorry to the believers, that means it's not a Raichu, but I'm gonna focus on education here rather than respinning all the time, if that's okay. So let's check for freezing now. It is 1 degree still, even though the ghost has been in this area. Now, an important thing with intermediate is similar to amateur, the ghosts still cannot change their ghost room. They will, if you find the ghost room, such as in this situation, we know this is very cold, they can roam, which, what is roaming? They will just like walk around the map a little bit, but they will always come back. They will always come back to the ghost room and go again on a journey from there and then come back again. On intermediate, they cannot change their favorite room still. That is something that will be happening on the higher difficulties, which will completely change the way you play the game. Like, that is a huge game changer. That's honestly one of the things that I really feel like they should put in the difficulty settings, which I think they do in professional, maybe. But yeah, that's a very important thing to remember. So we know it's probably not going to be freezing. We know it's not going to be ghost orbs. So let's use some of the other evidence. We know it's probably not going to be UV. So we're already down to Spirit, Wraith, Dio. Let's see if we get Spirit Box. Where are you? So to use the Spirit Box, depending on your settings, this is very important actually. Let me turn this off for a moment. If you're playing on console, I don't know how this is going to work, but the developers have confirmed that the voice recognition will work, but not right at release. What does this mean? This means that the ghost will be able to detect your microphone, but it will be able to understand what you're saying if you're using like a PlayStation controller microphone or something, which is a really important aspect of the game. What I assume you'll be able to do is go into your settings and change your voice recognition mode to text. But what's really dangerous about turning it to text is that if you turn it on, it will give you this text prompt. However, now I'm stuck. I can't move away. I can't walk right now. I have to turn it off before I can run away. So if I'm about to be hunted, it's really dangerous to use this. So just keep that in mind. But if you're at high sanity, such as now, you can just turn this off and then go into this, click on it. You can see right there the X will show you if a question was detected, which it was. We just get a response right there. So they will eventually have that working, but not right on release, they said. So if you are watching this in the future, keep that in mind. But do stay quiet during a hunt. What I would recommend is changing your voice recognition or your audio here. Yeah, here. Oh, airball. You see that thing right there? That's a ghost event. Why am I running away? Ghost events will drain your sanity, but only if they touch you. So if you see a ghost event, don't walk up to it and just stay away from it to preserve your sanity. You can take this time to take a picture, or what I can do here is wait for the ghost to go to stop, and I'm gonna run on top of it. Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Where are you? That's what I was hoping to get, dude. Okay, because that's a perfect example. Okay, I'm gonna explain this because this is gonna hopefully give you some love for this game if you're starting out as much as I love this game. There's so many mechanics that the ghost can do and that you can learn about the ghosts. What did I do right there? We saw the ghost doing a ghost event. I stayed away because I didn't want to drain my sanity. However, what's really important is that if a ghost does a ghost event, it's standing right there. Like, you can see it, and that means that even if the ghost disappears, it'll still be standing right there. So if I run immediately on top of the area where the ghost was standing to use the spirit box, it will usually give me a spirit box response. And even more so, a Dio specifically has a hidden ability. A lot of ghosts have hidden abilities. The Dio has a hidden ability that if you're super close to the ghost while using a spirit box and you get a spirit box response, there's a 33% chance that that spirit box response will be that very specific sound you just heard. So that is a way you can confirm Dio without getting the hunt from a Dio. Dio also has a very distinctive hunting behavior that I really want to show you because it's super cool. We can look around for the first possession. I don't know what it is. So yeah, that's like a really good example of high level. Like, if you know all the mechanics, I know the ghost was going to be there because of the ghost event. I ran on top of it, stayed close, used the spirit box a bunch, and got the response, right? Because I know what a Dio can do, and that's how I figured it out here. So I didn't even get all of the other evidence in this situation. What would have been the other evidence? It would have been dots. It would have been ghost riding. Okay, yeah, so we would have had to place those in the ghost room, but I didn't do that yet. Now, this is kind of, this is an advanced thing. You can figure out almost every single ghost through, literally basically every single ghost, through means that don't involve the evidence, which is actually my favorite way to play the game. And it is a good idea to start picking up on that from either your friends or watching videos like this to learn something. I've made entire guides about how to identify every ghost without using a single evidence item. Because, for example, in this case, a Dio is very difficult because dots is very hard to get when you're starting out. It's probably the most confusing evidence. And ghost writing just can take a long time. You'd have to place the ghost writing book in the ghost room and just eventually hope that it uses the... that it writes in the book. So let's do that anyway, because I would love to show you what the dots looks like. Because it is kind of confusing what you're even looking for. So we're gonna grab dots, we're gonna grab the writing book and a photo cam so we can take some photos. Now there's other stuff in intermediate. There will still be lots of hiding spots in intermediate, but not all of them. So some of them will be blocked. So what now starts to become important is that you kind of scout, you kind of want to scout what your safe escape route is. So I have my photo cam still. So you can check, for example, over here, we have a hiding spot. Envoy, thank you for the 5 gift subs, thank you. Oh, we have a mirror right here. This is a hiding spot. You can hide behind furniture. Sometimes this closet won't spawn here. But you have this hiding spot, you have this hiding spot. Like, there's lots of... Willow Street House specifically is entirely designed around furniture hiding instead of closet or locker hiding. There's no closet or lockers on this map. This is another hiding spot. This is somewhat of a hiding spot, but not very safe. As you can see, if the ghost decides to randomly walk this way, you will die. Oh, I can hear it writing in the book. So that's why hiding in more cornered areas is usually safer. So we just got it to write in the book. You can take a picture of that. It will say interaction, and then you can take another picture which will say ghost writing, as long as you're here as the writing is happening. And there's the ghost. You saw that right there? Okay, I'm so glad we saw that. So the writing just looks like this. It will literally just write in the book. The dots looks like that. Now, this is easier to get once you have the tier 2 dots. With the tier 1 dots, you kind of have to hold that one and shine it around the room and just wait to eventually, hopefully, get the ghost or the ghost to do it. It'll just randomly do this. It'll randomly start walking around in like a green silhouette like this. And what's also important to know is that you can take a picture of this and it will count as a ghost photo. This is just a fun thing that I would recommend you like try out when you're starting to play this game, is to try and take ghost photos, because it's just a really fun thing to do. When you get a ghost photo, you feel like a damn pro. It just touched this. I'm gonna take a picture of this. I'm gonna take a picture of this, because even if it's wrong, I can teach you something else. Okay, now, so you can take a picture of items that were thrown. You can take a picture of light switches. Now, what you have to keep in mind with light switches is that if the ghost does a ghost event And then it also turns off the light. Okay, well, you fucked it up because you just turned on the light again. But if... So, if it does a ghost event, that doesn't count as touching doors. It doesn't count as light switches, but, I mean, it literally touched the light switch right after, so then it did count. I would like to get a hunt from this ghost so I can show you what the Dio does during a hunt. Because I think they're extremely cool. What else do we gotta do? We have to escape, we have to do a crucifix, and we have to repel. And just turn off the breaker. You can see that all the lights are now off. I am going to run to the breaker to turn that on, and I can also get a picture from that as long as I'm fast enough. So I'm just gonna try and speed run over there to immediately take a picture. Did that count? That did count. Now, you have to keep in mind that interactions only stay around for a little bit. So you want to kind of be close to the ghost to take the pictures as you see stuff happening. So you can get the photos. Because if you fill out all the photos in the book, we would also like to find the bone if possible. You can get extra rewards. Specifically on lower difficulties, it's actually really good to learn photos. Because photos do not get multiplied with a difficulty bonus, which means that on amateur, they're actually an extremely large part of the reward that you're going to be getting. I'm looking for bone. I see it right there. That's a huge bone. You take a picture, you pick it up. Because you don't have a high difficulty multiplier anyway. Yeah, we have the mirror. I should take a picture of that mirror. So we just got the bone. We're trying to get all 3-star photos. The closer you are to an object, the better the photo will be. So in this case, I was right on top of it. Make sure that it's in the middle, and it will give you a 3-star photo. Now we're gonna have to grab a crucifix and a smudge stick real quick here because we want to get the objectives. Oh, hi there again. This ghost is doing a lot of ghost events. On intermediate, the ghost events are a little bit more common. But not as common as on the higher difficulties. What you have to keep in mind is that you cannot take a second picture of the ghost. If you've already taken a picture of the ghost, don't take another picture because it will literally count for nothing. Now you can delete photos now, which is really nice, but you can get multiple money from that. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the smudge stick. I'll take a second crucifix as well, because we just need to do crucifix. We need to escape and repel. We can do all of that. So the front door closing does not necessarily mean that it's a hunt, because the front door, when a ghost is a ghost event, it will close all of the doors in the room that is doing the ghost event, and it will also turn off all the lights. Usually, depending on the ghost event, it might do something different. So that means that if the ghost room, such as in this situation, the ghost room is the entrance. That means that when it does a ghost event, it will also close the entrance, even though it's not a hunt. It keeps turning on the TV, dude. You can take a picture of the TV remote here. You take it off the TV remote, I think, right? Yeah. So not of the TV, but of the TV remote, which is a little confusing. I'm gonna use the mirror now. Every time I use the mirror, this is another curse possession. This will show you the ghost room. It'll show you the room that the ghost, or not the room that the ghost is in, but the favorite room of the ghost. So if I pull this up, once you start recognizing the houses very well, I'll literally be able to just pull up the mirror, look at it for like 10 seconds, or not even 10 seconds, 1 second, pull it down immediately, and I'll know right away what room this is. But you won't be able to do that when you don't know all the rooms yet, but it's good to, like, once you get familiar with it, you'll be able to spot the rooms easily. So that's what it does. It literally just shows you like a vision of the room that the ghost is in. Now I just used a crucifix. What is a crucifix? What does it do? If you place it in a room or in the ghost room, it will, you can see by holding F, I can place this. On console, this will be different. I don't know what button it will be, but it will be a different button. It'll show you a circle. In that circle, you can see it over there. If the ghost tries to hunt, it will be prevented from hunting and instead use up 1 charge from the crucifix. Now, if you have the tier 1, there's only 1 charge. The tier 1 only has 1 charge, so it'll immediately be broken. For the tier 2 that I have here, you have 2 charges per use. But I'm gonna take them out now because I want to get a hunt. The Dio is a very special hunt, which I think, if I remember, I don't think you can get Dios if you're just starting to play. The Dio, you cannot hide from this ghost. This is a very unique ghost. If I run away, it's gonna run really fast to find me again, no matter what I do. But the closer it gets to you, the slower it becomes. So you see how it's getting extremely slow when it gets right next to me. But no matter where you are on the map, the Dio will find the closest player to it, which is really important to know, because if you are hiding against the Dio, it will literally just find your hiding spot, walk into the hiding spot, and kill you in there. So you have to go to what we call looping spots, which is where you can run in a circle around an object, such as this right here. This is a looping spot. You can run in a circle around this while being chased by the ghost without like ever running into a dead end and getting killed. That's really important to know. It's important to slowly learn all the looping spots on the different maps. This one has the looping spot right here and the looping spot right there. This ghost is really spamming ghost events. I did all the objectives, right? Oh, I didn't do repel. Whoops, I was a little... Oh, we're gonna have to do it again. Let me turn this on. What's important to know about the cursed possessions is that when you use them with 0% sanity, they will break, such as this. They will break and then immediately cause a hunt, which is why I don't recommend using them if you're not very professional in this game, because you can sometimes use them far too long and then immediately get killed. I'm gonna smudge. Because not only do they start a hunt, they make the hunt longer, and they make the hunt start much faster. This is a thing called the grace period, which on amateur, this is 5 seconds. What does this mean? When the ghost starts a hunt, the lights will start blinking, you will hear a spooky sound. This will be a 5-second warning on that the ghost is about to start a hunt, which will give you like a head start to run away from the ghost before it actually is able to kill you. On intermediate, this is 4 seconds. You get a 4-second warning. However, if you break the cursed possession, no matter whatever the grace period is, it changes to become a single second, which is very short, obviously. So you only get a 1-second warning before the ghost starts hunting, which means it's much more likely to kill you if you're in the area of the ghost. So that's why I don't recommend ever breaking the cursed possession unless you like really want to get hunts and you kind of know what you're doing. So yeah, we just got a Dio right there, and we also got a perfect game. What is a perfect game? If you get all objectives, you take all 3-star photos, plus you get the bone, you get an extra reward right here. You can see that I got 230. And this, you can see, gave us a lot of money. You saw, what did I get on amateur? I got like $300. By doing a perfect game on a higher difficulty, I already get 1,000. That is so much more than that amateur game just gave me. So that's why I recommend intermediate for people that have already gotten the gist of collecting evidence, who are going to be able to do it a little faster so they don't need to use the lower sanity drain. And then you will be rewarded with much, much higher rewards. I don't think I missed anything in that one I'm checking. Oh yeah, the sanity pills will heal you a little less. But outside of that, the main things with intermediate is that they still don't change their favorite room. You still have a lot of hiding spots. You still have slower sanity drain than the higher difficulties, but it starts to look a little bit like professional. The breaker will be off, some hiding spots will be blocked, some doors will be open, there will be more ghost events, so it's like a good gateway between amateur and professional, which, speaking of professional, that's where we're gonna go to next. So let's hop into that one. Now, this is where... This used to be the highest difficulty in the game for like the first 1.5 to 2 years, I don't remember exactly, of the game's existence. So I have played by far the most on professional throughout the years. This is, in my opinion, the most balanced difficulty and the intended way to play Phasmophobia, unless you want to challenge yourself with a higher difficulty. So what you're trying to be able to do, what your first goal should be, is to beat a professional game. If you want to set goals for yourself when you start playing Phasmo, rise through the difficulty to get the professional and be able to consistently beat a game of professional, because this is where like the game gets hard, but it is still really fair, and you don't have to use all of the advanced mechanics that we're gonna also talk about here and there. So what do we have? The ghost room can now rarely change. This is what I talked about before. The ghost rooms can change. On this difficulty, for the first time, it'll be able to change the ghost room. So now if you find the ghost room, it sometimes will become something else, and you'll have to keep monitoring that throughout the game. You will have no setup time, which in my opinion, this doesn't matter at all. You will have a shorter grace period. It's a 3-second instead of 4 seconds on intermediate. The hunts will be maximum length now, I think. Yeah, the hunts are now the maximum length. The sanity pills will restore even a little bit less sanity, but as long as you manage your sanity properly, you don't ever have to really use the sanity pills. The fuse box still starts off, and you now have much fewer hiding places. But what you do have to keep in mind here, which is the big one, you don't see it here, but we still have 3 evidence. That is going to be the big change once we get to Nightmare or Insanity, is that the evidence that the ghost gives you goes down, whereas here, that's why I think this is the intended way to play the game. You get a lot higher rewards, but you still get 3 evidence, which is like what you're used to on the lower difficulty. So yeah, let's hop in. We're going to talk about this one, and we're going to play that on... I'm going to stick to the small maps, as I said, so we're going to do this one on Edgefield, which is actually a slightly trickier map for the looping specifically, but I almost forget. We got to spin for the people in chat right here, so let's see. That was not a Raichu, so the believers lost that round. What will it be? Will it be a Revenant? Alrighty. We have 18.5 million points on Doubt and 2.5 with 3 all-ins on Belief. Alright. So Professional is where it starts to become serious. The ghosts will not be messing around anymore. No setup time. You still have the screams here, but your sanity will now be going down at the rate that I am personally used to, because all the higher difficulties use the sanity drain, which is twice as fast as amateur. So you're going to be losing a lot more sanity than you're used to, which makes turning on the lights even more important. But as with intermediate, the breaker will start off. So our first thing is going to be to turn it on. Insane. Thank you for that 10 gift subs. Thank you. Holy shit. So you want to check on the screen right here. Where's the breaker? We can see that it is in the basement here. So we're going to walk into the map and immediately go to the basement. I can already turn on the light switches, even though it doesn't turn on the light. But once we leave the basement, the lights will, or once we turn on the breaker, all those lights will obviously immediately turn on. So it's this right here. There we go. So we have lights. So you can, it really doesn't matter that much that the breaker starts off by default. Oh, I heard a throw right there. It's in the kitchen, I think. And we get EMF 5 right away. Excuse me, we were looking for Revenant. Well, that's kind of depressing. I'm sorry to the believers. Okay, so sometimes you'll just get extremely lucky and immediately get an evidence from the EMF, which is good for us, not for the believers, though. And let's see if we can already check if this is the ghost room. Let's check in this hallway. So we have 9 degrees here. It's 7 degrees, 5 degrees in here. So you can see that it goes down pretty fast in the ghost room. So you'll be able to identify the ghost room with the thermo, but it gives you like a range. It goes up and down in a large area, but it will be going down over time. Let me see. So we have small chance now. So even we know that this is most likely the favorite room. However, it could change. It could. How does the changing work? I'll explain that now, because that's something that wasn't relevant before. But it is an extremely important behavior of the ghost that you'll have to keep in mind if you're playing on these higher difficulties. I'm turning on a bunch of lights in the area here so I can stay safe. If the ghost, there's a difference between changing the room and roaming. Roaming is something that every ghost can do on every difficulty, which is that they just decide to walk around a little bit, which can be inside of the room. It can also be outside of the room in the adjacent rooms. Now, if it's on intermediate or amateur, it'll just walk around and then come back. If it's on professional or higher, Tumbleweed, thank you for the 5 gift subs as well, thank you. If you're playing on professional or higher, the ghost, while it is roaming, can decide to, wait a minute, I actually like this room a lot now. I'm gonna make this my ghost room. And then it will make this now the ghost room. So it will still be close to the original ghost room usually, but it will it will make this the ghost room then, potentially. This doesn't always happen. This is more likely to happen if you're at low sanity. If you have very low sanity with your team combined, it is more likely to change ghost room, which means that, once again, keeping your sanity high is extremely important because it's going to dictate a lot of the game mechanics that will make the game harder. You're going to be hunted more, you're going to be having the ghost roam around a lot more, so you just want to try and keep your sanity as high as possible. That's why I always say turn on the breaker right away. Now, I don't usually play this way because I know the game so well that I can, like, survive even if the ghost is constantly hunting me. But if you're starting out, I highly recommend you play it safe. So we're gonna place the book. We're gonna place the dots here. You can hear a sink. This is also something you can take a picture of. It's just dirty water. It doesn't have anything to do with the ghost. If you watched the trailer of Phasmo on the Steam store, you might... I don't know if they're gonna put that on the console store as well. I hope not. In the trailer, they say something about dirty water having a relation to what ghost it is. That is not true. They lied. That has never been a thing, even in the first version of Phasmo that came out 4 years ago. So yeah, they just put that in the trailer to, I guess, mess with the people that play this game. Let me quickly grab the UV because I heard it touch the door. So it's just an interaction the ghost can do. It's the same thing as if it was like throwing an object around. You don't have to worry about that. Which door did it touch? I don't know which one, but I can check both. I think it was this one. I don't see UV. I'm gonna wait for another one. Oh, it also wrote in the book. Look at that. You can see it did a whole bunch of scribbles in the book. So we had EMF5, and we're gonna have ghost writing here. So we have spirit, shade, or miling. I wasn't in the ghost room when it wrote. What we're quickly gonna do, just for the people in chat here, is that we can do a quick revote. Because we have spirit, shade, or miling. But I didn't have UV, right? So it can... probably can't be a miling then. Let's do spirit or shade. Spirit or shade, you can decide. Okay, this is way closer than I thought, but chat is thinking here that it is basically a 50-50. 50% thinks spirit, 50% thinks that it's a shade. So we'll see what it'll actually be. Alright. There's something you can... Well, what do we need to look for? Let me see. So we need spirit box for spirit, or freezing for shade. So let's just grab the spirit box that we already have in there. We're also going to grab the salt. And we need a firelight for the objective right there. And I'll grab a crucifix just in case. And we can also do it with a candle, because the shade will never blow out a candle if you're in the same room with it. So we can test if it's a shade this way. Let's place that, but I'm going to quickly do this. Where are you? Are you here? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Are you French? Are you pizza? Where are you? So let's check, right? Is it... Wait, is it gonna be a shade? Yep! Alright, there you go. So we have minus 0.1 degrees, which means that it will be freezing, which means that it will be a shade. I'm sorry to the people saying spirit right there. Okay, so this is very important about professional mode, which is why I think that it is very reasonable in your maybe first... I don't want to put a time frame on it because it took me a while to get good enough for professional as well. It's like something you don't want to rush it anyway because the journey with Phasmo is just really fun. But it is something that you can realistically work towards just purely by yourself. You don't even need the help from the internet on how to learn all the different ghost behaviors. You can literally just get good at collecting the evidence and figure out every single ghost, because all of the ghosts will still give you 3 pieces of evidence, which they don't do on the difficulties that are going to come right after. So basically the first 3 difficulties are like amateur is just like a much slower paced version of professional. The sanity drain is much lower. The ghosts are going to do much less ghost events. They're not going to roam around that much. They're not going to change ghost room. You have all the hiding spots, but in essence, the way you play it is still very similar to professional, whereas Nightmare and Insanity are entirely different in the way that you have to play them, and that's how you usually see me personally play the game. So yeah, I think this is like the way that Phasmophobia was meant to be played. It is just find the evidence if you can find it. Sometimes the ghost will be roaming around, making it harder. We want to get it to blow out the firelight. I also would like to see what the cursed possession is. So we're gonna quickly look for that. I'm assuming it's gonna be upstairs because I want to do some objectives here. So I can show you the value. We have a monkey paw. I can show you how much money you get from the different difficulties, and I also want to make sure that I compare them properly. So I want to try and get a perfect game if I can. So once again, for perfect game, I'm gonna just place all this salt right here. I'm gonna place it on top of itself. This is the tier 2 salt. It's a line instead of a single dot. In order to get a perfect game, you need to get the bone, all objectives, and all 10 3-star photos. So I'm picking up a bunch of salt to get those 3-star photos really easily. It blew out the candle already, and we still need to repel the ghost. We're gonna do that. Let me pick up the other salt. Easy way to get photos quickly is to use salt. You can place down salt on top of itself so that the ghost, so you can see it already stepped in this. If the ghost ever steps in one of these, it will immediately step in all of them, which means that you can take like all of the photos at once. So in this situation, I can take, I know that it stepped in the first 3 piles of salt, so I can go 1, 2, 3, and then if it steps in it again, I'll be able to take the remaining photos. I would still like to find the bone. Let me quickly look around for that. Ah, there we go. Okay, it's in the living room. There's a random type of bone that will spawn. This specific one is usually the hardest to find because it's kind of small. Sometimes you'll have an entire rib cage, a hip, a skull, a spine. That this one in particular is kind of small. So we pick that up, we take a picture. Now we can also take a picture of the monkey paw again, which we didn't do, I don't think. Yeah, there we go. As well as this dirty water that we had. Usually, for interaction pictures, you have to take them right as the interaction is happening. For stuff as writing, salt, dirty water, you can take them at any point because they'll, the game will still count them even after a while. It did the piano. We should be able to take a picture here, but I might get a 2-star, which will allow me to show you how to delete photos. No, it's a 3-star. You just walk up close to it and hope you get the right photo. Let's touch this door. For door photos, you want to take them where the fingerprint would be. And that can be different for different doors, so it can be kind of tricky. For this one particular, I know it is in the middle. So you can take a photo in the middle, but you can also just practice that. And if you, like, let's say I take a wrong photo. Let's say I take this photo a little too far away. Oh, come on. I can't fail, dude. Alright, I'm suffering from success. I meant to take a 2-star picture there, but whoopsie doopsie. If that was a 2-star picture, you will get a little garbage icon here, which you can click on and then delete the picture. I think if you're playing multiplayer, you have to vote together to delete the photo. Which I wonder what happens if someone starts a vote to delete a picture in the middle of a hunt. Will that, like, kill your friends? Will that, like, pop up a pop-up that has to be resolved before they can run away from the ghost? I hope it's not how that works, but that would be fucked up. No, that's not how it works? Nothing pops up? Okay. Okay, I never done it in multiplayer, so it doesn't work like that. Okay, so then you would be able to delete it and try it again. But anyway, we got all the picture right there. We still, however, need to repel the ghost, so we're gonna use the monkey paw. We have been getting different types of cursed possession, which is kind of cool. Monkey paw is very unique in the way that it works because it requires you to basically know exactly how to use it before you can even use it. If you go over here in your items overview, the cursed possession, the monkey paw will have these found wishes. There's I wish to see the ghost, I wish for activity, I wish for sanity, I wish to be trapped, but it doesn't even say here what they do. And if you are starting out the game, it won't say anything here because in order to fill in these wishes, I think you have to go to Sunny Meadows and find little cards in Sunny Meadows with the wishes on them to add them to your book. So yeah, that's kind of fucked up. So the monkey paw is by far the most confusing cursed possession to use, but it allows you to do cool stuff such as I wish for sunrise weather. You can literally change the weather with this thing. I just changed it from rain into sunrise. Look at that. Now, other stuff I can do is all of this right here, but some of these are better than others. If you want to get hunted with the monkey paw, I usually say, I wish for sanity. I wish for sanity. There we go. What does this do? This sets everyone's sanity in the game to 50%, no matter what it was before. If it was higher, it will make it lower. If it was lower, it will make it higher. And then it will also change the room of the ghost. So this ghost will now no longer, will change ghost room from there to be somewhere else, which can be kind of scary. And it will make your sanity drain a little faster from then onwards. I'm gonna be over here in the dark so I can get my sanity to drain, because I want to get a hunt. Now, you can also ask to see the ghost, or to, I wish for knowledge, which will both... Can you wish for knowledge and walk outside? I don't think you can, right? Which will both trigger a hunt right away, but they're scary because they have other side effects, such as if you wish to see the ghost, this will actually, you can literally wish for it and walk out. Oh, I tested it. Yeah, we did that. I mean, that's kind of cheesy. We'll just do it this way. Now, what we have to keep in mind here is that we are dealing with a shade, which will only start hunting at 35% sanity, which is kind of annoying. But we can talk about stuff anyway. So, you have to keep in mind that all of the wishes have like a negative side effect. Such as, if you wish to see the ghost, this will do a ghost event, but then it will trigger a hunt right after and make you blind for the entire duration of the hunt. Which I guess we could do, it doesn't really matter. I wish to see the ghost. Because it does a ghost event and triggers a hunt. I didn't even see the ghost, you liar. But now it makes me blind. I am blind. I cannot really see the ghost very well, which makes the hunt a lot scarier. You can see how there's like a darkness bubble around me. So I'm just gonna smudge and then run to a hiding spot. So I'm gonna run upstairs. Luckily, I know the layout of the map relatively well. So as long as you just sit in a hiding spot, what you have to keep in mind is that if you have your microphone set to open mic, if I'm talking right now, it would kill me. It would come inside of this locker, kill me, but I've set my microphone to push to talk. So that's why I'm not getting killed right now while I'm talking. Now, after the hunt, it will stop making you blind, so I can see again. I want to show you that here, this is what I wanted to show you. On professional, this is an important thing. You will have much less hiding spots. Now, you will still have quite a lot of hiding spots, as you can see right here. Both of these are available. He's taking a shower right there. But you will still have quite a few hiding spots blocked as well, and this is what that looks like. So there will just be a bunch of debris in the hiding spot, which means you can't walk into it. So you have to find one that's open. Because if you run into the wrong hiding spot, you'll be stuck and you will get killed, because you won't be, like, the ghost will just be able to see you. So you have to keep that in mind on professional, that there will be much less hiding spots than on the intermediate and amateur. But yeah, there we go. That should be, I smudged the ghost, right? Yeah, we smudged it, we took all the pictures, we got the bone as well, so that should be a perfect game. So you're gonna see that that is an even higher reward. So there, we went from 1,000. That was also what we got last round. Was we got a daily objective. You have daily objectives that you can see over here. This will give you, these are daily tasks. These will give you extra rewards. So if I buy an item at the store, I'll get $100 on my next contract. If I buy 3 of those, if I get the Ghost to Walk the Salt, I will get 100 reward at the end of my contract, and this will reset every day. So every day you can do new ones, and the weekly tasks are they will reset every week, but they're usually a lot they give you higher rewards, and they're also a lot harder to do, such as earn perfect investigation bonus. You have to do 5 of that, and then you get 500 additional money. Doesn't really matter that much. I don't even look at them at all. I just get them by accident, and I'll just take them as bonus money. So yeah, there you go. You get 1,300 for professional, which is a lot, but it really starts to get much higher from here. So that is the intended difficulty that you can get to by just learning how to get evidence, and eventually you'll be good enough to be professional and to call yourself an experienced ghost hunter. However, now We're gonna do nightmare mode. Let's first spin the wheel so that chat can already focus on that, which, by the way, let me show you the payout, because obviously people made 500,000 channel points right there. Sorry to all the spirit believers. There were 4 all-ins on Shade, though. Let's respin. That was not a Revenant. What do we get? Will it be a Shade? Are you kidding me? That's rude. Will it be a Shade again? All right, there you go. So now, nightmare mode. This is where the game changes because of this top line right here. The ghost will hide 1 type of evidence. This is such a big difference. Not only does this mean that you will only find 2 evidence and thus always have to figure out some other behavior to really nail down the ghost, but this also means that if you don't find an evidence, you can't just go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't see fingerprints, or oh, I didn't get spirit box. I can rule that out in the journal, and like, let's say over here you get no spirit box, then you can immediately rule out all these ghosts. You cannot do that on nightmare mode because the ghost could be hiding spirit box. So this takes away a really important thing that you can do on any of the earlier difficulties. So you really gotta find the evidence. You can't just figure out the ghost by ruling it out. The ghost, so the hiding 1 evidence is the huge change. The ghost runes will sometimes change, so it will now more than often change. This one, I said it can rarely change. This one is sometimes. There is no setup time at all, similar to professional, doesn't matter at all. The hunt grace period is now only 2 seconds. For professional, it was 3 seconds. The hunts are still max length, similar to professional. What's also really different about this one is kills increase the hunt duration. I didn't even mention this, but on amateur, intermediate, or professional, if anyone dies during the hunt is immediately over, and that person will die, but all the other people in the game will be safe. On nightmare mode, the ghost can kill everyone in a single hunt. If you're all hiding in the same hiding spot and one person by accident leaves their flashlight on, it will kill the entire team in one hunt. So that is really dangerous if you're playing in multiplayer, and really important to keep into consideration that if you're playing with someone new who doesn't really know how the game works, you might want to leave them behind and run to a different hiding spot, or make sure to really explain them how to turn off their equipment and shut the fuck up during a hunt. Probably the latter would be the nicer thing to do, but just keep yourself safe. So sanity pills will also restore much less sanity. The fuse box still starts off, and almost no hiding spots. So yeah, big difference here. Hunts will increase duration, and the evidence will be hidden. Now, I remember, we're gonna do this on Richview. I remember when this first came out, so this is one of the newer difficulties. Oh, and this is also a big one. These screens are broken now, so you can't get information from this. I'll talk about that more in a second. I remember when this got first added, I was like, this is super hard, man. This is gonna like completely change the game. I don't know if I want to do this forever. Like, this is so hard. But then obviously eventually we got good enough to, because like nightmare mode is literally my default difficulty now. I think insanity, which is the one above this one, is even too hard. Or like, if I want to do insanity, I'd rather just do an entirely no evidence challenge. Because that one takes another evidence away, which makes it even more insane. So yeah, the screens. The screens were really nice before, because they'll allow you to see what your sanity is. They allow you to see if the ghost is doing a lot of activity. Specifically the sanity, if you're playing in multiplayer, can be really important, because you know that you've been a good boy and you've been in the light the whole time, taking care of your sanity, making sure you don't get touched by a bunch of ghost events. But your fucking other teammates, they might not understand how the game works, and they might be running into ghosts left and right, staying in the dark, using tarot cards like idiots, and you have no idea what the sanity is. So, because in the previous difficulties, you could just see that and then be like, hey, what the fuck, Tim? Stop doing the tarot cards. Stop sniffing those tarot cards in the corner over there. Now you can't do that anymore. So you can't see whether or not someone's sanity is really low. So if you suddenly get a really early hunt, you might not be able to tell that that's an early hunt. It might just be one of your friends who nuked their sanity through some other means, either by being touched by the ghost or a special ability or something. So it just kind of takes away some information. Now, I will also be talking about the custom difficulty after we've gone through all the main difficulties, which this is something that I usually change. The custom difficulty allows you to tweak some of the difficulties. I personally don't like not playing with the screens because I think it takes away a lot. I think it takes away information that is that you can use to like learn more about the ghosts, and it's just a more fun way to play to have the information. So that's why I personally usually choose to play on nightmare mode. However, the only change being that I turn on those two screens. But yeah, we're obviously going to play with the default nightmare mode settings here. I want to quickly check what the chat has been doing here. They did 19.8. Mark, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Thank you. They did 19.8 million points on it being not a shade or mimic, and 2 million points on it being a shade or a mimic. All right, we have Edward Harris. We have photo of the ghost, incense, and witness a ghost event. All right, we're gonna grab, we already have the flashlight. We're gonna grab these two. So now, you still wanna, I don't think you'll see this anymore, right? Or do you still see this? So yeah, this is another change. I don't think it set this on the, maybe it set it on the difficulty. You will no longer see where the breaker is on the map anymore on nightmare mode. So now you just have to know where the potential breaker locations are, and then just check them all to find the to find where the breaker is. There is, on this specific map, this is Ridgeview, there are 2 breaker spots in the basement and 1 in the garage. So I'm just gonna run to the basement first because it's the highest chance that it's gonna be here. We'll check over here. This is a potential spot, which we found it right away, and we also... What? The fuck is that? I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of spooky. There might be an ability. I'm not sure. I want to just turn on the light and check for... Because if it's an ability, it would give EMF 2, though. How is it so warm here? Wait, how is it 19 degrees here? Oh, it's a touch the door, touch the door. Wait, did it just do a Uri ability? Alright, we're gonna quickly leave this one so the believers don't have to deal with this shit, and then I'll come right back. So, I don't even know what's going on. Maybe Mimic, like, genuinely Mimic, because, so don't worry about this one. I'll explain what happened here, but I just want to see if this was actually a Uri first, because it might be a Mimic, in which case that would be super troll. Because it did do an ability, it did do like EMF at the breaker, which could have been because it's a Jinn. There we go, it was a Uri, okay. So that was just a quick game. Why was it a Uri? Because it did this. Abilities used 1. You saw how I was in the basement. This is really hard to explain, assuming that someone watching this has no idea how the game works. Uri has an ability where it will drain your sanity by like 15% or something. When it does that, wait, can we see how much did it drain? It only drained 5%? I don't understand this. So yeah, it's supposed to drain your sanity by like 13 to 15%. It didn't do that, but it still did the ability. And when it does that, it will close a door close to the player, which can be the front door. However, the only way for any other ghost to close the front door is either by hunting or by doing a ghost event. So if you hear the front door close and there wasn't a ghost event, there wasn't a hunt, you almost always know it's gonna be a Uri. And it will also do this very distinct, like, double door touch sound effect. But that's a little harder to learn, but you'll eventually start recognizing it. So yeah, that was just, I really quickly wanted to do that one because I didn't want to have the believers be stuck in purgatory for a long time while I talk about all the ins and outs of playing nightmare mode. Plus, already knowing what the ghost is kind of defeats the purpose of us going through that game. So yeah, will it be a Goryo this time? And then we're hopping straight back into nightmare mode because that one didn't count. We have 1.8 million versus 15 million over here. All right, will it be a Goryo? We have Ann Anderson, nice name. Escape the ghost, cleanse, and repel. How much money did I earn there? I actually didn't pay attention to that, but it probably was already quite a bit because nightmare mode, you get, so amateurs 1 time, intermediate 2 times multiplier, professional 3, and then nightmare mode is 4 times multiplier, right? So you get quite a bit of money. You get 4 times the amount that you would get if you were playing an amateur game. I still think the difference between going from amateur to professional or, okay, intermediate is a lot bigger. So we immediately get the ghost room already. It's also a giant bone. There's no, breaker here. The breaker can be in the garage, so it's gotta be in the basement. Let me quickly check for the breaker. You still want to, obviously now especially, since we're gonna be unable to check for our sanity, so we won't know if we're getting close to be hunted. Because this is really important. On professional, if you see that your sanity is 60% average, you know, wait a minute, I might be getting hunted soon. I should probably grab a smudge stick, or I should probably set up crucifixes. The hunts can blindside you on this difficulty because you don't know how low your sanity actually is. Let's see. What room is it actually in? So it was touching this door, it touches that door, and also we have a board right here, which we can ask some questions to later. For the memes. I just want to check. It's touching doors again. 6 degrees. Turning off the light because of the ghost event. Okay, so it just touched me. That means I just lost 10% sanity, so I just went from 100% sanity to 90. We have to kind of keep a mental note of our sanity. It touched this door again. I should probably grab some evidence items, because it's already doing so much activity. The ghost will be doing a lot more ghost events. It's not an Oni. The Oni cannot do that airball ghost event. That's how you can rule out an Oni right away. But it will be doing less other activity. Now, from my experience, it usually does a lot of all activity on the higher difficulties. But in the settings, at least, it's supposedly doing less general activity and just more aggressive activity, such as hunting, obviously, because you're losing more sanity, as well as doing a bunch of ghost events, which will drain your sanity, which will cause more hunts, etc., etc. I don't know which of these rooms specifically is the ghost room yet, so let me check for fingerprints. We get fingerprints. Okay, what were we looking for? We're looking for Goryo, right? Okay. So that's our first of 2 evidence we gotta remember. So we will only be getting 1 more evidence now. So we'll have to look for that. Now there's one exception for that. That is the Mimic. The Mimic will still give you 3 evidence because the Mimic has a special ability which makes it give orbs even when the Mimic doesn't have orbs. That's just like a special ability that specifically the Mimic has to throw people off. I'm not seeing any orbs. Yeah, so Goryo will have dots if it is a Goryo. Oh wait, there's orbs. Okay, there's also a ghost right there. You see those orbs? They're in the dining, I think. So it could be either it is Banshee, Hantu, Obake, or it could be a Mimic, which we can try by Spirit Box, I guess. Where are you? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Are you French? Are you pizza? Are you grandma? Where are you? Okay. I don't think that was a hunt. No, it was a... you always gotta play it safe, especially when you have no idea what your sanity is and you've been getting a bunch of ghost events. It just exploded the light. It's extremely annoying. Okay, so we didn't get Spirit Box, but it could still be Mimic because it could still be freezing as well. But let's just... So this is where you start to become... You start to make a lot more mistakes, because if you don't know, like, the Mimic specifically becomes more dangerous sometimes on Nightmare mode because it can throw you off thinking that you've already found all your evidence when you could potentially still have Spirit Box or freezing temperatures that you could find. But let's just focus on these guys for now. It can't be a Hantu, because Hantu has forced freezing temperatures because their ability is entirely... this is a thing that you kind of learn, or that you should know on Nightmare mode, is that some ghosts have forced evidence. So if you didn't find that evidence, it means it cannot be that ghost. These are the following. Hantu... Let me turn off the evidence that we have right now. Hantu has forced freezing. You will always have freezing if it's Hantu. So if you don't get freezing, such as in this situation where we have UV and ghost orbs, we know it cannot be a Hantu. The Obake has forced fingerprints. It will always have fingerprints. However, because of the nature of Obake, it can sometimes hide the fingerprints. So make sure to check for it relatively frequently because you might be missing it. The Goryo has forced dots. It will always give you dots. However, specifically for the Goryo, the Goryo has an ability where it will only show you dots if you're looking through a camera and there is no one in the room. So that is very difficult, especially for new players. Goryos are probably gonna be the most annoying to find because dots is already the hardest evidence. So to add on top of that, you can only see it if no one's in the room, makes it even harder and even more annoying. Especially on nightmare mode, you're constantly having to deal with that because it has forced dots. Then we have Moro and Dio, who both have forced spirit box. This is for the Dio because of that special Dio ability that we found a few rounds ago where it like breathes into the spirit box really loudly. You don't really need that at all to figure out a Dio, but they've just decided to make that part of the forced evidence for Dio. And for Moroi, the Moroi has a special ability where if you use the spirit box or the paramic and you get a response on either of them, it will curse you and make your sanity drain much, much faster than normal sanity drain. Even if you're in the light, your sanity will still keep draining. You can get rid of this by taking a sanity pill to get rid of the curse. But because it's all that's related to the spirit box, they've decided to make the Moro have 4 spirit box as well. And I think those are all of them, right? Those are all the 4. And obviously, Mimic has forced ghost orbs. The Jinn doesn't have any forced evidence. Okay, anyway, what do we need to do here? So we were probably dealing with a Banshee or an Obake. It could still technically be a Mimic, so maybe the believers will get lucky. But let us focus on these two. The Obake, so now that we've gone, let's assume that this is not a Mimic and we have found our 2 evidence. What do you do now? Because now, on Professional, you would just keep looking for evidence to find the rest of to find the remaining evidence and then figure out the ghost. In this situation, we have to know about these specific ghosts and their specific abilities and how we can rule them out without finding the evidence. I know this because I've played this game way too much, but you're basically gonna have to just learn that through observing others, playing with others, or watching videos about it. Obake, in this situation, is the easiest one to figure out. It has a special ability where either, if it's touching a door, it will leave a special fingerprint. We can find that. Or during a hunt, it will change into a different ghost model randomly sometimes. It will be blinking all the time, and then sometimes it will randomly change into a different ghost model. So what we can do is get a hunt, loop the ghost around a table, and then get it to change ghost model. Now, what's really unfortunate in this situation is that the ghost just broke our light around the table, which is awful because that means that we're gonna be that we're not gonna be able to loop it there very easily. So I'm actually gonna play this very safe, and I'm gonna take a sanity pill to make my sanity a little higher so we won't be immediately hunted. And I'm also gonna take a paramic because the Banshee has a special ability where if it does a sound on the paramic, it has a 30% chance to make a very special sound, similar to how the Dio makes that special spirit box sound. The Banshee has a special paramic sound where it will do a loud scream, a Banshee scream, thus telling you that it is a Banshee. If it is a Mimic, we'll be able to find another evidence at some point. Now, since this is rare, right, it only does it 30% of the time. It just did a ghost event again. I'm gonna quickly leave again and take another sanity pill. The sanity pills give you 25% sanity on this difficulty. So with 2 of those that I just used, I should be totally fine here. I should be at right around 100% sanity, but I just want to play it safe, right? That's the kind of the thing you got to do on nightmare mode is you got to play safer around your sanity because you don't know how much you have exactly, because you can't check it in the truck. And since this is a lady, Ann Anderson, we might be dealing with the crawling ghost model, which would make looping so much harder because the crawling ghost model, you can't really see it when you're walking around. Let me check for freezing here because that could tell us that this is a Mimic. So now you literally just have to ditch evidence items unless it's a Mimic, which it is. Okay, believers, let's go. Okay, so this is why nightmare mode is so much harder because you have to know everything. It would be so easy here to know, oh, wait a minute, you only get 2 evidence on nightmare mode. Let me give up on collecting more evidence. But what you have to keep in mind is that if it is a mimic, you will get a 3rd evidence. So in this situation, it's actually UV and freezing, and ghost orbs are the mimic's ability. So that's why we had ghost orbs. So we actually do have a mimic here, so I don't even have to stay around anymore for another round. But I do want to try and get a perfect game here. So we're gonna run for the evidence items. That is actually crazy. I can't believe we already got 2 believer wins. We started with 1 and we get 1 right now. Don't pay it out just yet, obviously. Because I still want to do the rest of the game as well. How are we going to do this fast? We need to repel, we need to cleanse, and we need to escape. This is the perfect combination of objectives because you can all do them during a single hunt. So we're going to just grab 1 smudge stick, we grab our photo cam, and we grab the salt. We're actually gonna grab all of the salt because this will allow us to take a very easy 9 salt photos, which is a little cheesy, but I'll totally take it. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, since we're just, oh, you can also take a photo of this, obviously. Boom. We're gonna take the rest of the salt, and then we need to find, or we need to break the board to trigger a hunt. All of the cursed positions have a little, like, trickiness to them. So this one in particular, the bone was in the garage. Yeah, you're right. This one, you have to make sure, which is apparently a thing that you have to do for Ouija boards IRL as well, or that's at least the lore surrounding them, that you have to say goodbye if you want to stop using them. If you don't do that and you just walk away from them, it will start a hunt, and you will probably die because you didn't expect it. Unless you were expecting it, in which case, what a gamer. Let's take that picture, so we get the bone picture, so we already have 2. I am going to turn off the TV because it's pissing me off. Okay, and then we're going to go upstairs here because we just want to play it safe. We have a smudge stick, and I have my photo cam. Oh, it turned off the breakages now. We don't really care. Because we're just going to be starting a hunt. So I walk away. Did I not fill in mimic yet? Yeah, fill in mimic. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be highlighted in black. It can just be, like, as long as the circle is around the ghost that it is, it doesn't matter. We're gonna stand here. We're gonna ask, how did you die? How did you die? You can actually take a picture of that as well. Shot? Do you like me? Are you French? Are you angry? I don't think it responds to any of those. When did you die? 547. Okay, then. How old are you? 79. Do these photos actually count? They do. Marco. How many pickles can you fit up your butt? 0 pickles! What else? How do you feel? Hurts! How many people did you kill? There you go, 0. Are you stupid? Do you like me? Yes! Okay, we already filled everything out. Hide and seek. You cheated? Come up here. It's going down into the basement. Ghost. I need you to come out of there. It's in the basement. I have my lighter. Always make sure to check for a lighter. To make sure that you got the whole setup. I don't want to walk up there or walk close to them. Because I might die. Can you please come out of there? Or I might not get the hunt in time. Or I might not get the smudge in time. There we go, finally. Okay, I'm smudging and then I'm running away. Okay, that was definitely risky because it's really hard to hear how close the ghost is to When the ghost goes onto a different floor, it will become all muffled and stuff, so it'll be really hard to hear. Okay, the ghost stopped hunting. This is an important trick, by the way. If you can flick the light switches, that means the ghost is not hunting anymore, because you cannot turn on any light switches if the ghost is hunting, even though the lights don't work because the breaker's off. That doesn't matter. The thing with nightmare mode that you have to keep in mind is that there will be much, much less hiding spots. Look at this. Almost every single one of these hiding spots will be blocked, except a few of them. So what you'll have to start doing is find hiding spots that aren't considered to be real hiding spots. Personally, for me on this map, that is this one right here. I have had a lot of luck just sitting in this corner here, even though like this door will block a little bit of line of sight. Unless the ghost really goes all the way over there in this room, you will usually be safe. And the other one, the big one that everyone uses, is the fridge. Is it hunting? I can't because I smudged it. The fridge right here is a really good hiding spot. You can just sit right here, make sure to turn off all your equipment and shut the fuck up, obviously. But then you will usually be safe back there. Yeah, I think that's good. We did all of the objectives. We got all the pictures. We already know it's a mimic, so we're gonna get out of here. There we go. Look at this. It's all the same picture. It's responding. It's responding. It's responding. It's responding. It doesn't matter. There will be a this will change down the line. But right now, you can literally just take the exact same picture over and over again, as long as it's not like a ghost photo or a bone photo or a board photo. There's a few photos that are unique and you can take multiple of, but these are like interaction photos, so they do count. So yeah, there you go. That was a mimic, which is basically a ghost that can mimic every other ghost, even evidence of other ghosts, such as, well, specifically ghost orbs. You can see we're getting a lot more money now. When we were playing amateur, we got around 400. Intermediate, that went all the way up to 1,000. We also get headgear now with the light on it. Let me skip this. When we did professional, it was like 1,300, and now with nightmare mode, they go all the way up to 1,700. I really want to see the payout on this, because that's crazy that we had 2 payouts. We only had 1 all in there. Look at that, 2.3 million. But still, even 100K turns into 1 million, 25K, 200,000. Holy shit, good job, believers. You guys are getting lucky. Okay, so now, that was nightmare mode. I also will do, I think before the console launch, I'll do another ghost guide. I'll do an updated bit of a quicker ghost guide because I've done like a 2.5 hour, I think almost 3 hour long super deep dive in all of the ghost mechanics. So if you really want to know everything, I'll link the ghost guide in the description of the video, of this video, if you want to check that out. But if you don't have 3 hours to take like a hyper master class in the ghost and you want like a shorter 30-minute, maybe hour-long video, I'll be making one of those before the console update drops in a little bit later. But yeah, that's nightmare mode. Big difference being here. When are you ready for nightmare mode? When you pretty much like know everything about the game. You don't have to know everything. You can have friends that know a lot. You can know quite a bit. You don't have to be like a super mega ultra professional, but I definitely think that missing that one evidence changes the game so significantly that if you don't go into it at least knowing like the obvious ghost abilities, you will just almost always be stumped by like, I don't know how to distinguish between these 3 ghosts that are left right now, so I don't know what to do. You kind of got to know that stuff, so maybe watching like a ghost guide that I've made or the one that's coming soon will really help you there. Now it is time for the later difficulty that came out after Nightmare, actually relatively recent, Insanity. This is not the custom difficulty. This is still a difficulty designed by the developers. However, this one is even more insane because look at this. Ghosts will now hide 2 types of evidence. So you will only get a single evidence unless it's a mimic, obviously, in which case you will get 2, which is a big difference. Now, on Nightmare mode, as you saw, we still get a cursed possession. On Insanity mode, there will not be a cursed possession. This will especially be really difficult for finding the ghost room on larger maps, because on larger maps, the cursed possession usually helps you to find the ghost room. You cannot use those on Insanity mode. The ghost room will change a lot more often now compared to Nightmare mode, compared to Professional. That will be a big difference. There will obviously be no startup time, but there will also be less starting sanity, which this is a really big one. You will now start with 75% sanity rather than 100%. This is much more of a difference than you think. Why? Because the important checkpoint of sanity is 50%. Once you get below 50%, the ghosts will be able to start hunting. So the difference between starting at 100% and starting at 75% is actually basically 50% of your usable sanity goes away, because before you'd have to lose 50% before you got into hunting range. Now you only have to lose 25%, half as much. So you will be hunted much quicker, and there are even ghosts that can instantly hunt you as soon as you step into the map. These are the demon, which can hunt you at any point, or the Thaye, which will also be able to hunt you right away as soon as you step into the map. So this is really dangerous. You can decide to take a sanity pill right at the beginning of the match, but what you have to keep in mind is that you don't have a cursed possession, so then you'll be struggling later to get your sanity low enough so that you can get hunted, because you need to get hunted so that you can figure out the ghost. So it's kind of like there's a lot more things to worry about. There will be a short grace period. I think this is the same. Let me see. It is a 2-second grace period, I think. I didn't write it down here, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 seconds. Wait, let me quickly check that, because we can check that over here. There is a grace period, 2 seconds. Yes, so a 2-second grace period still. The custom we'll talk about in a moment here. There's long hunts, and they will also increase the duration, so your whole team can get killed in a single hunt, similar to nightmare mode. The sanity pills now restore even less, and there is almost no hiding places, similar to nightmare mode. The big difference between these two is the no curse possession, one less evidence, and having oh yeah, this is also a one right here. This is an interesting one that I didn't even know until I looked at it today. The fingerprints stay around for much shorter on insanity mode. I didn't even know this. So on nightmare mode and any other difficulty, the fingerprints will stay around for 2 minutes, and then they will disappear. On insanity mode, they'll only stay around for 60 seconds before they disappear. So really, really quickly. So yeah, but the big difference is one evidence, no curse possession, low starting sanity. Those are the big 3 differences between insanity and nightmare mode, and that makes it a lot harder. Let's quickly spin the wheel before I forget that, before we hop in here. So yeah, I'm gonna do this one on Tanglewood just to show you a proper comparison between when we did amateur on Tanglewood and now that we're gonna be doing insanity, which is a crazy high difficulty that I really only recommend. I don't recommend this to basically anyone. I only recommend this as like, I want to try it out once. Like, I don't recommend you play on this consistently. You can also see the big difference here, by the way. You can see that it goes from 4 times multiplier all the way to 6 times multiplier. So as before, it was a 1-time increase, amateur 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it immediately goes to 6. You also have this little skull. What does this mean? This means that if you go to Sunny Meadows by yourself with this difficulty, you'll get a bronze trophy. If you can get the ghost correct and do all the objectives and get the ghost photo, you'll get this trophy right here. Because it's so hard to do. But anyway, we're gonna go to not Sunny Meadows. We're gonna go to Tanglewood instead. I think the doubters have died because of the many believer wins so far. We have 13.6 and 2 million on belief. I mean, I respect that they're still around after losing twice. Like, that's not... Obviously, all of the previous buffs from Nightmare Mode stick around. So the screens are still broken, which makes it even harder here because we don't even know right now that we're at 75% sanity, even though, obviously, we know that because we know how this difficulty works. But yeah, you gotta be very careful. I am not gonna take a sanity pill here because I want this ghost to hunt eventually. Why do I think this difficulty is basically for no one? It is because it is simultaneously extremely difficult, yet it doesn't give high enough rewards for the difficulty that it is. You only get a 6 times multiplier, but it is so much harder than Nightmare Mode. Oh, it was immediately a door touch. Was that over here? That it's not really worth the extra time that you'll be spending on the contract and the extra chance of death for the increased reward. I kind of, like, as someone who plays a lot on higher difficulties, I either want to do Nightmare Mode for the 4 times multiplier and the 2 evidence, or I want to immediately skip past insanity and go straight to doing a no evidence challenge for a huge amount of reward, like a 10 times multiplier, basically, instead of a 6 times multiplier. By just taking out 1 more evidence, you'll increase the rewards even more. I already got EMF right there. We also need to do motion sensor and escaping the ghost. We'll do that just fine. Let's grab this stuff. So we got to be very careful here, because the ghost could hunt us immediately if we get unlucky. I'm pretty sure it touched this one or this one. Oh, airball, ghost of it. So that airball that we just got reduced our sanity from 75 to 65 immediately. So now we're already... This is why it's so dangerous to play on insanity mode with the 75% sanity, because it will... Like, just getting 2 ghost events will basically put you below 50% already, which is extremely dangerous. So I'm gonna grab a crucifix now, and it's not an Oni. That's true. And another thing is that 1 evidence doesn't even really matter, because at least on nightmare mode, you'll get 2 evidence, which means that you'll be able to rule out almost all of the ghosts except a handful. Whereas with 1 evidence, first of all, it's really hard to get that 1 evidence because you have to bring in all of the evidence items to just get a single evidence in the end. And then it doesn't even give you that much information because it only tells you, like, okay, it rules out a few ghosts. Yes, it helps, but it doesn't immediately help you very well. We still have to turn on the breaker, by the way. I'm stupid. I might want to take a sanity pill at this point. Breakers in the basement. It's gonna be risky to walk into the basement here, but I'm gonna do it. There we go. And then we want to turn on lights to keep ourselves safe. And I want to already protect myself a little better, so I'm gonna check. Can I check from outside how warm it is right there? It's 8 degrees in here. 2 degrees. Okay. So this is the ghost room, basically. That's what I wanted to know, because then I can set up my defensive stuff in that room. You really want to not do this, obviously, until you got all of the tier 3 or even tier 2 or even the tier 3 unlocked, because without smudge sticks, you're gonna be 100% dead on this difficulty if you don't know what you're doing. So we're gonna place right there. There we go. Alright, that should be keeping us safe quite a bit. Let's talk on the spare box. Where are you? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? So we still want to get the evidence, obviously. Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Are you French? Are you pizza? Check for Orbeez. It's throwing a lot. What are we looking for again? We're looking for demons, right? It isn't hunting me yet. I'm not seeing orbs. Okay, and this is still the ghost room, right? Let me check again. It is 2 degrees. Jesus Christ, that makes a loud smack sound. So yeah, we didn't get any of the obvious evidence right away. It's also very chill right now. Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Where? Wait, what did that? Touch. One of these. Oh, light switch. It turned on the light switch. That's important. I touched this, I think. So that means it can't be a mare. So we're gonna rule out mare right there. So you gotta pay attention now to the stuff. Like, you can't just count on finding the evidence right away. And then, okay, I can take pictures of that. And then doing the secondary, like, you looking at the behavior of the ghost. You gotta be looking for the behavior of the ghost the whole time. So we already got a hunt right there, which I don't think that was even an early hunt, because it took us quite a bit to get that low. I think that just shows you how much faster you get hunted here on insanity mode. That's why I wanted to make sure to prepare the crucifixes. I'm really not seeing any evidence. This might be a Goryo. because of the... What we can do actually for Goryo. This is an important thing to know about Goryos, is that you don't have to be in the truck to check for Goryo dots. You just have to be, everyone has to be outside of the room. So if I'm standing here, outside of the room with my camera, I'll be able to see the Goryo dots, which is exactly what just happened. All right, so this is actually, we'll do another game. We'll do another game. This one was a little short. That was actually cracked, dude. I don't want to, that was just immediately obvious. So since the Goryo, the same thing counts for the evidence, as I was talking about with Nightmare Mode, that some evidence is forced. Goryo will have forced dots, Dio and Moro will have forced spirit box, Obake will have forced fingerprints, but what now is really important is that there's only one evidence, so for Goryo, you will always have dots, which is extremely annoying because finding dots for Goryos can be very hard. We got really lucky right there. I don't know why my game is frozen, by the way. We got really lucky right there to be able to find that so quickly, but you can also see just getting the ghost alone is already 3 times the amount of money you would get. Hey, CJ, what's up? Just getting the ghost on insanity mode is already enough for 3 times as much as doing a perfect game on amateur. So obviously the 6 times multiplier makes a big difference for getting big rewards, but that was also just a very quick game. It was a 6-minute game. So let's hop back in. First we got to spin though. Sorry to the believers. How you doing, CJ? We're going through all the difficulties, talking about when should you be playing on which of them, especially with the eye of a new player. All right, will it be a Hantu? We're doing on Tanglewood again. I think I'm sticking on Tanglewood with Insanity. Doubters are back a little bit. We got 15 million versus 2.5 million. Holy shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all-ins. Are you guys insane? All right, we have Kachana, Harris, Ghost Event, Incense, and EMF. All right, we'll try to get a perfect game here, but I gotta be careful as well. So first of all, turn on the breaker. Let's play it safe again, because I wanted to reset that last game because I didn't really play it very safe, and obviously I want to be a good example here. So we're gonna immediately run to. I heard a sound in the kitchen also, so it's in the kitchen again. I want to run to the garage or the basement. We should be safe unless it is a super early hunting ghost here. We don't have to look for cursed possession. I was looking for the board, but there won't be a cursed possession. So we turn on the light over here, over here. We heard a fork right there next, or that's a spoon actually, right next to the bone. Is this going to be the ghost room? I assume it will be. I'm just going to leave my stuff here and grab. It knocked on this window right here. Interesting. So we can't really get fingerprints here. That's an interesting change that I didn't even know, as I said, that fingerprints only show up for 60 seconds on Insanity. That is so short that unless you're right there when the fingerprints happen, you really won't be getting any fingerprints evidence, which makes it even harder to get it, and you only can find one evidence. So yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Oh, run. Oh, wait, what did it just do? It starts to turn on this light, or did I do that? I'm pretty sure the ghost just did that, right? Okay, so it turned on the light switch, which means we can rule out Mare, which is real nice. So we can rule out Mare. That'll be important later, potentially. Let's turn on all the lights surrounding this area, so we'll be able to run away or go back and forth into the map without losing sanity. Let's see where the ghost actually is. Well, let's bring in all the evidence first, because we need the temperature to still go down a little bit more before we'll actually be able to confirm what the ghost room is. We should still be at around 72% sanity at this point. I'm gonna take this as a ghost. You kind of want to just set up everything. Like, I'm gonna run back here again and grab the crucifixes as well, because you'll never know what ghost you're running into. It might be a Thay, it might be a demon. You really want to just play it safe on this difficulty, so we're gonna grab both of those as well as the smudge stick to really be as safe as possible. I think it's the kitchen, but it might be interacting in a large area, so we're just putting this here for now. quickly grabbing the other evidence items. Now, obviously, if you have a team, this will be a lot faster because you'll just be, like, everyone will be helping you bring in these items. So you don't have to do it all alone. But I'm all alone. Okay. It is 8 degrees here. That doesn't strike me as extremely cold. We have, okay, never mind. 20 degrees in that room. And then 20 there. Hey, Thorlo, what's up? 20 there. Okay, so it is clearly this room. All right, so we have a kitchen ghost here. We're also gonna take this photo of the bone. Pick that up. Let's talk on the spirit box here. We want to do that for as short as possible. Where are you? Are you here? Oh, hello! All right, well, there you go. We got dots. That's actually really lucky. Let's go. Okay, so you saw there was dots just now, which because we could see that with our own 2 eyes without using the camera, we know that it can't be a Goryo. We also know that it can't be a Dio because we have dots and not Spirit Box, because Spirit Box is forced for Dio. So yeah, it's gonna be these ghosts. What are we actually looking for right now? We're looking for a Hantu, so that's a bit of a oopsie doopsie. I'm sorry. Okay, so now that we have found our 1 evidence, we know it can't be a Mimic because Mimic doesn't have dots. Like, it can't do dots ever. So now we're left with this. So this is why I think this difficulty is pretty much like a no evidence challenge, because look how many options are still available. I still have to do Phantom, Wraith, Banshee, Yurei, Oni, Yokai, Raichu, Thay. I have to distinguish between all of these guys. Oh, was there, I don't know if there was a, I want to get the ghost photo before I actually know which ghost it's gonna be. So what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna just do that. So I'm gonna explain you for this specific setup here how we're gonna approach this. The first one I'm seeing that's really easy to figure out is a Wraith. Wraith cannot step in the salt. So what I can do is take my salt with me, place it in the ghost room. If it steps in it, we know it's not gonna be a Wraith. Another thing we can do easily, let's see, Banshee would be Paramic, Phantom would be taking a photo, and the rest seems to be mostly during a hunt. So I think I'm gonna grab another smudge stick here. Now we also want to get a perfect game, so we might bring in the salt in a moment anyway. Banshee will still scream. Banshee will scream with no evidence. Yeah, that's not an evidence. That's a, like it's a hidden ability. Well, not hidden, but it's a special ability. Ah, there we go. So it stepped in the salt, which means it's not gonna be a Wraith, because Wraiths can't do that. So we're gonna rule out that ghost. I'm also gonna take a picture right there. Can you give us a sign? Let's hold the Paramic. Stepping there now. You can. It already used the crucifix. That's why we're preparing, because that is fucking scary, dude. That was actually felt slightly early, maybe Raichu. Okay, what are we at right now? We already got so many pictures. Do we need to do anything else? We need to cleanse, and we need to get a ghost event. Can you show yourself? You want to make sure to turn on the lights every time the ghost. But it can't be. It can't be a mare, excuse me? It just turned off the light? But it can't be a mare unless we're... Wait, that didn't count. Okay, it didn't turn off the light, it did a ghost event. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it did a ghost event, but it didn't do a ghost event. What the fuck? Okay, let me step out here because I need to be safe and I need to talk about a bunch of shit. So the fact that I took a photo there of the light switch, and it was a 0-star interaction photo. I deleted it immediately, by the way. Meant that it did a ghost event most likely, which we can see right here that it did in fact do a ghost event, but it was probably an airball ghost event then. I'm not gonna rule out Oni just yet, but it probably was airball because otherwise we would have seen it, right? Now we also just took the dots photo, which as I said a while ago counts as a ghost photo, which means that this cannot be a phantom, because phantoms will disappear right before you take the picture and it will still say that it's a ghost photo. But because you can clearly see that the ghost is in this picture, it can't be a phantom. So we're left with these. So we're just ruling them out like this. We're ruling them out based on behavior. I think it is time for us to start a hunt here, which is going to be kind of risky. I'm going to turn back on the lights and go to the... Might be Banshee, at which point it will be very scary. I think I'm gonna put this one here. And then I'm gonna put this one over here. If it's a banshee, it will be roaming towards my location. Did it use the crucifix? Or did it turn off the breaker? I turned off the breaker. Fuck you. I need to hold on to a smudge stick. If it's roaming to my location and then it hunts on my location, that will be very dangerous for me, obviously. So that's why I'm bringing a crucifix over there. So while I'm waiting here with the paramic, I'll be protecting myself against a potential banshee attack from really close by. So now we're gonna grab the paramic. As I said, the banshee has a special sound on the paramic. So we're just gonna stand back here and point that into the ghost room. For the Oni, we're gonna be seeing this during a hunt. The Oni would... That's a whisper, that's what we're looking for, but that was not the banshee scream, obviously. For the Oni, during a hunt, it will be blinking a lot more. I would like to still take photos as well. I touched it twice, that means 2 pictures. Okay, we need 1 more. This is going well. We're gonna get a perfect game here. That was not you right now. So for an Oni, it will be blinking. Oh, hello. I can't take a picture of this because we already took the ghost photo. That is a singing ghost event. The banshee has a higher chance at doing singing ghost events. It doesn't mean that if you get a singing ghost event, it must be a banshee, but it means that if you get a lot of them, you should probably consider it being a banshee. Anyway, so Onis will be blinking a lot more during the hunt. I'll point it out if it happens. Yokai is the only ghost that won't be able to detect your equipment from far away. All the other ghosts, if they're relatively close to you, they'll hear you talk or they'll detect your equipment and then come to your hiding spot or follow you. But yokais won't be able to do that unless they're really, really close to you. And then we have 2 really scary ghosts. Thays are faster at the start of a game and then get slower over time. If you're close to them for a while, they'll get slower and slower and slower until they're extremely slow. Whereas Raichus are fast based on if there's electronic equipment nearby them. If there's electronics around them, they'll be really fast. So if you have your flashlight on, for example, they'll be really fast. It's extremely sus right here, what's going on with this ghost. Very banshee behavior, but we don't know yet. That's why I have this crucifix right there. Perfect example. Let's turn this shit back on. Hold on to my smudge stick, be careful. That was not an airball. The sound of that sound that it just made doesn't mean airball. It means, like if you see the ghost, it obviously isn't an airball. It's not based on the sound, it's based on the visual. The visual will always make that. It just did a whisper and then immediately used the crucifix again and then immediately did another ghost event. This is actually kind of insane. This ghost is going crazy. I need to hold on to my smudge for dear life here. I don't think we have really any hiding spot, so we might have to loop here, which that's another thing that you gotta learn before you're really ready for this type of challenge, is that you should be, or is how to loop. Because you need to loop to figure out evidence for the ghost during hunts. Coast is definitely going a little crazy. You can see how much different this playstyle is then. This is why I do enjoy playing with lower evidence, because it is a very different playstyle from just finding 3 evidence and then getting the fuck out of there. Which is also why I love no evidence so much, because it's pretty much this, but then you get a much higher reward as well. Well, there we go. Okay, so it's not a Raichu because it was close to all my equipment and didn't speed up. I'm gonna stand here. It should be coming out of the basement, please. It's stuck in the basement. That's kind of annoying. Here we go. Oh! Okay, so this is a perfect example of a yokai. You see how it's walking past without coming to my location, even though I have my equipment all blaring? That's because yokais are not able to detect your equipment from far away like other ghosts. So yeah, we know this is how you're gonna run it. You're just gonna eventually figure out through behavior and through hunting behavior which ghost you're dealing with, which I would have found that out even without the dots, basically. So that's why I'm saying insanity is kind of for no one, because if you're good enough to do insanity, you're good enough to do no evidence, and at which point you might be better off doing no evidence because that will earn you a ton more money. We should cleanse the ghost here. which I am going to do outside of a hunt if possible. Well, there you go. We cleansed the ghost. So now it won't be able to hunt anyway, so I don't have to worry. And it did an airball, so we probably saw an airball earlier as well. All right, there you go. So we've done all objectives, got all the pictures, picked up the bone as well. So that's why I think you should just be hopping straight over to the custom. It would still be it's like I guess a stepping stone. I guess it's one stepping stone to get towards doing the higher difficulty or the like super heavy custom difficulty settings. But look at this reward though. It's gonna be big time because we get the perfect reward. Then we get the 6 times multiplier. So then throughout this, you can see the like difficulties are extremely important for if you just purely are interested in experience and leveling up, because you saw that when we played amateur, you made 500 max basically. And then on this difficulty, we're making 2.6 thousand. So one of these games, which can take you like 13 minutes, counts as 5 separate amateur mode games. But now what I want to show you, so that's insanity, and that's all the main difficulties. There is also, well, there's also the challenge mode. This is different every week. Challenge mode is very important for trying out, for learning specific like weird ways of playing the game with low evidence or like no sanity or something. I think this is a good way to get introduced into some custom difficulty shenanigans. What's important for these is that the developers set the difficulty. We don't know what the difficulty is. We just get like a vague description, such as this one, vulnerable. You'll be going into this one with no defenses. Be careful out there. But for the week that you're watching this will be a different one, because every week it's going to be a different one. If you beat this 3 times by figuring out the ghost, you will get one giant payout of $5,000 in one go. But every difficulty itself will be 1 time. So you don't get money here based on the games that you do, so you don't have to worry about objectives and stuff like that, unless, I mean, it's the same payout as an amateur game, basically, but it will usually be much harder than an amateur game. You just want to get the ghost correct 3 times in a row, get that big payout, but it's really different every week. So some weeks this will be really easy to do, other weeks it will be much harder to do, and you probably should just be skipping it. But it's something fun to look out for every week, see if the difficulty sounds like something you would want to try, and then do it and get a big payout, get a big 5,000 payout. The other thing is the custom difficulty right here. This is something that they added relatively recently, which is extremely cool. We used to have to do a bunch, like whenever we wanted to do challenges, we'd have to just make them up ourselves. Now we can actually make our own challenges by going into each difficulty setting and changing them. So this is like very hands-on. You kind of need to know how the game works, obviously, to properly tweak this. So for example, this is how I knew all of the exact settings. So this is amateur mode. So let's see, that one good way to start using the custom difficulty, in my opinion, is, let's say, for example, you're like me, you like to play nightmare mode, but you don't like the screens being broken. What you can do is you can click over here to preset. You can load up nightmare mode, which will give you the setting of nightmare mode. And then you can go into the settings and turn on sanity monitor, turn on activity monitor, turn that on. This will change the difficulty slightly, so you can see at the bottom here that we went from 4 times reward to 3.9 times reward. That is a very high, that is still a really high difficulty. It basically didn't change it very much. But now we have the screens. If you don't like, for example, that it roams, like let's say that you don't like changing favorite room, you can turn that off as well. You can turn off changing favorite room. Yes, you're losing out on some multiplier, but this is still a really high difficulty. You can just like tweak some of the mechanics that you don't like. Like let's say you want the ghost to be more active, you can turn up the activity, and you can change a few things like that. Let's say that you want shorter hunts, you can turn down the hunt duration. Whilst now you don't want to change all of these, because then you reduce the difficulty by a lot and then you don't get a big reward. But it's a good thing to, for example, if you want to try out insanity while still knowing what your sanity is, you can go into here, go turn on the activity chart, and then you still get a huge payout, but you'll have some more information. So I think that's a really cool way to use it easily. The other way that you can use it is do stuff like this, which is what I think we're gonna play one round of. This is the difficulty that I very frequently use. I'm gonna change it slightly here. No, we're just gonna play with this. This is an extremely hard difficulty, 0 evidence, no grace period, so the hunts will start immediately. We have no sanity, so it's very difficult. But, as you can see, a 10 times multiplier is extremely high. So this is a really good thing that you can do once you have the skills to play this way. You can level up really fast. Now, there's even higher difficulties that you can set up to make this even higher while keeping it possible. But I think this is a really good balance for me. We also should spin the wheel again before we do this. So I just want to show you what you can be working towards eventually. Like, you can climb from amateur all the way into this insane, no evidence, I know everything about every ghost difficulty, and that's just the beauty of Phasmo. So we're gonna hop in on this crazy setting, and we're gonna do that on Tanglewood again, just to compare properly. All right, doubters, let's go. 17 million versus 1.8 million with 1 all in. All right, so now we're gonna be, this is like my domain. This is where I usually hang out. This is not something I recommend for anyone who is new to the game, obviously, because this is all kind of fucked up. We're gonna immediately start with a hunt in this situation, to try and, because the hunts are extreme, they give you a lot of information on what ghost it is. So that's why I start with 0% sanity. Now, I also start with the breaker on, actually, because that'll allow me to immediately turn on the lights. That's just what I like to do in this setting. Oh boy. I might have been better off taking a crucifix here, because I could instantly die, but we're gonna hope that doesn't happen. So we're gonna sit at a looping spot. This is a looping spot. We don't have any hiding spots, obviously. And we're gonna be luring the ghost over here during a hunt, trying to see if it's faster, slower, does anything weird during the hunt, and then if we don't get any information, we can smudge it, place crucifixes in the ghost room, and then we're gonna gather more information. But we're not even gonna bring in any evidence items, because we don't have to worry about the evidence, because this is a 0 evidence challenge at this point. Now, it's not hunting, which is pretty suspicious. That means we might not be dealing with something like a demon. Could still be possible. But, oh, there we go. Okay, it's a Revenant. Hey, bitch! You want to see something scary? This guy is mad! I'm gonna smudge your ass. So, the Revenant, this is a specific ghost. Hey, that's already stopped. Turn off the breaker. This is a ghost that will be, it could still be a mimic, obviously, that will be very fast if it detects a player, but if it's not detecting a player, it will be really slow. Also, it touched that right there. So I could hear the footsteps being really slow, much slower than usual, and then when I got closer to the ghost, it went Insano style and immediately ran me down, and that's how you know it's a Revenant. Now, the mimic can turn into every other ghost, so it could be a mimic here, in which case the believers are gonna be extremely happy, which it was a Revenant. So, I'm sorry. Now, what you're gonna see here is all I did was figure out that ghost, right? This is the way to level up really fast, and it's also, I mean, it's really fun to still try and go for those perfect games in these type of rounds, because what I could have done there is just, well, let's do the next one. We'll try and do a perfect game here if my game would decide to work. I guess we're gonna spin the wheel real quick again. Oh, it's working now, but let's spin the wheel anyway. What will the next ghost be? So we're gonna do another round of this just to show you how crazy this can get. Will it be a Jinn? All right, will it be a Jinn? Now look at the money of this. So that was the exact same payout as that perfect insanity mode game that took us like 13 minutes. This one took us 2 minutes. So you can see how this is very efficient at getting a lot of levels. Now, it's gonna get even crazier if we actually do all the objectives, so let's do that now. What's going on here? We went from 70 million to 12.5 million with still the same amount of believers. The polls are weird today. All right, so we have Doris. We need to repel, firelight, and motion sensor. We're gonna do it in the same way. Identifying the ghost is, if we can do that, that will be really nice. So we're gonna try and rush for that. It's always a little risky to not take a crucifix with me here, but I'll be fine. Hopefully. Alright, so I immediately run towards my looping spot, and then I just kind of sit here in the corner. Okay, so the ghost is in that area. I'm gonna stay away a little bit. There is ghosts such as wraiths, phantoms, and banshees that can roam towards your location, which can make this very scary. There's a bone right there. Perfect. We needed to find that. I want to smudge the ghost here so I can get a little safety period. So after you smudge the ghost for 90 seconds, the ghost can't hunt. Unless it's a demon, in which case it can hunt it after 60 seconds. Leon, thank you for the 3 months, by the way. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Miley? Miley? So you can't hear the ghost at all. Unless we're going close to it. Can you come over here? Hello, sir. Which means that it's a Myling. Myling has an ability to be very quiet during a hunt. I should have smushed it there, that's my bad. Needed to repel it anyway. So that is the Myling behavior. What we're gonna do here as well to figure out if it's not a mimic is doing another hunt. If you get the same behavior in another hunt, that usually means you're not dealing with a mimic, because the mimic will be changing ghosts constantly, so every hunt will basically be a different ghost. I just want this guy to hunt again, or this lady, so I can get a smudge in. I think it's the same. So I'm gonna smudge you at 56:46. It doesn't really matter. Oh god. Scary ghost. What the fuck? I walked through the door. Pool door. Okay, so we smudged it. We get a little bit of a safety time. Turn back on the lights. So yeah, that's definitely a Myling, but we said we weren't gonna leave until we get the perfect game so we can really compare the insanity that is this high difficulty and how many rewards you get. Let's see. We have still firelight, still motion sensor, but let's find the ghost room real quick and throw in crucifixes. I still have sanity pills here, so I could also eat those, which might actually be a decent idea. We still have a little bit of safety here. Or 14 in here. Almost gonna be able to hunt. Still really high there. I think it might be here. Is that back there? I'm gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna put it over here. And then I'm gonna grab more stuff. We need to grab the salts, and we need to do the stuff for the objectives, obviously. I think we need a motion sensor and firelight, right, for the objective? Yes, and then we'll do salt as well. Okay, we had 2 believer wins today. That's already pretty crazy. Put this here. Okay, use the crucifix over there. So we know where it is. Don't drop your lighter ever, because you have an extra inventory slot for the lighter. And you don't want to be without a lighter when you're looking, or when you want to light a smudge stick lighter. Let's grab this. It's pretty bad. So we're putting this down so we can get photos out of this. Okay, it's going kind of Insano style right now. It used that twice. I'm gonna put the other crucifix here, I guess. Oh, touch the door. Was that this door? I actually don't know if it was this door. I'm gonna back off real quick. Do we have a smudge? We do have a smudge. And this ghost is very mad. Let me see if it was that door. It was that door. Okay, so we just got 2 photos. We're trying to get all the photos. We can also take the bone here. Did we get the motion sensor? We did not get the motion sensor yet, but that should be soon. I'm gonna wait for this hunt. Or I guess this. 1. Did that count? 2. Touching that door again, but I can't go over there right now. You could go over there if you had like any grace period at all, but because of this like insane difficulty having 0 grace period, that means if it hunts right next to me, I just die. So I don't want to be doing that. We just wanted to use one more crucifix potentially, step on the salt, step in the motion sensor, and then blow out our candle. There we go. It could do that during a hunt as well. It did do it during a hunt. Perfect. Okay. We could try and take the ghost photo here. Ah, fuck. I could take 2, right? Nice. Oh, God. Okay, perfect. I didn't delete a picture yet, right? I think we're good. Okay, we're fine. I just smudged the ghost, so that... I just took a photo during a hunt, which can be kind of tricky. But I should have been... We got a 1-star interaction. I don't care. I'm deleting that one. And we got that 3-star ghost photo. And then we're gonna take the photo of this shit right here, which is the salt. We get salt. We need 2 more. 1, 2, and look at that. So there we go. That is a perfect game on this difficulty. We did all of the objectives. I didn't talk through this very closely because I also had to focus on the game. We did all of the photos. We got the bone. We got the ghost photo even. We know it's not a spirit. This is a myling. Gotta make sure to fill that in. And we'll see what the reward is for that one. But this is why I really like playing on these difficulties, because they test your skill on knowing all of the ghosts, and then they give you massive rewards for when you know the ghosts. Now, there is situations you can get into where you can't figure it out because the ghosts are just so sneaky, and some of the ghost types are really annoying to figure out with no evidence. But look at this. Oh, my game is frozen. We get 4,000. So we have 10x. Yes, obviously. Also, we get the weekly as well. So we go, and we get the tier 3 EMF. Look at that. We go from 400 to almost 5,000 right there. So that is the progression of the different difficulties. So let's summarize it once again. Amateur is where you should start on. If you're playing new, do amateur, learn how to find evidence. That's the important first step. Your first task on amateur is learn how to find evidence. Then you can step up to intermediate once you know how the evidence items work. On intermediate, keep finding evidence, because here you're gonna start learning a little bit more about hunting behaviors, because the hunts are gonna start happening a little bit more frequently. So you're gonna have to hunt the hiding spots. You're gonna have to turn on the breaker at the start of contracts. It will be a little bit more like a normal ghost experience. And then once you reach professional, you're in the cool club. You understand the game enough to be able to consistently be professional. You've basically like completed the normal player's journey through Phasmo. Then if you really want to go like, I love this game, I want to go into the deep end, I want to learn everything about this game, you can go to the next 2 difficulties, but I would only really recommend those if you really want to, if you care enough about this game to really learn all the ins and outs, which I definitely do, and I think it's really fun, but I know that's not for everyone. So if you are one of those people, you can go to Nightmare Mode, which I think is the perfect balance for still being able to find some evidence. You can find 2 evidence here, but then you have to use the knowledge you have of the ghost to rule out the final couple of ghosts that are left after you found the evidence, which is just like the perfect balance of both. You still have to find evidence, and it's only a small list, so you don't get super overwhelmed with doing everything you have to do during a no evidence, but you still have to do some no evidence stuff. Then I honestly think insanity should just be forgotten about entirely. I don't think this difficulty is worth its salt. I think it's too hard and not rewarding enough, because like this one evidence is just so useless, and it would almost be better to just go into your custom difficulty, take insanity, and just turn down the evidence to, look at that, immediately. By turning it down to from 1 evidence to 0, you already get 2 times multiplier extra. That already will be a much more worthwhile challenge, because it's basically the same effect, yet you get a lot more reward. So yeah, I would honestly just say skip past insanity, and once you're good enough to know all the ghosts, just go straight to trying out no sanity challenges, which you can do by something like this. Just set up the... You can do something like this. This is like a class. Just take insanity difficulty, turn your sanity up to 100, and then maybe turn on the screens. I think that's also a good idea. So you can see the sanity monitor in the activity chart, and then you get a 7.8 times reward. maybe you want a cursed possession as well, though. Like something like that. That actually takes away a lot of your reward if you do the cursed possession, but I think that's a lot more fun. So it's kind of similar. I mean, you can try it without. That's kind of fucked up. You could try it without and then do lower sanity while still having sanity pills, something like this. So you can at first you try to figure out if it's a wraith, if it's a phantom, taking photos, stuff like that, and then once you get hunting, you can really start knocking out all of those ghosts. So yeah, but that's for the really high advanced stuff. That doesn't matter for most people anyway. Just stick to the lower difficulty, stick to professional, and let me know which one you like the most and which one you're striving to play on. Like, what's your next goal in this game? What do you want to do? Or just not give a shit at all and just want to have fun. That's also totally fine. I just like I like playing this game at a bit of a crazy high difficulty. That's just fun for me personally. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you liked the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. And if you want to join the lovely gamers here in chat, you can join us over at twitch.tv or click the link in the description down twitch.tv/instant or click the link in the description down below. Don't join us at twitch.tv. I mean, unless you follow me already, then you'll be able to find me right there. But anyway, I'll see you around. Have a good one. Bye bye.